Welcome to Odds.com's NFL Opening Lines Early Leans show. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Happy Tuesday, December 22nd, week 16 in the NFL. A lot of juicy spots. My man Rob Bebenek joining us. Bebsie, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing good, Jimmy. I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. It's Tuesday night. Got a little action early before it moved. I see Vipers already got some real sweet action on the Colts. That is long gone. That's why you sneak in early. Check it out.
That is why you sneak in early. Nice work, all. We got a great group already in the chat. Buzznuts, ready to get to work. Nut Flush, Allen, Viper, NB locked in the Colts plus 2.5. It's now -2. We got Turnsy in the house. Our first NBA bet of the year, Kyrie Irving, over 29.5 points and assists. He's got 20 points at the break. Trusting this nut job early in the year is lucrative. Mr. Fun Monk joining us. Gerald Jones in the house. There's Nut Flush Allen giving out love. There's Maxwell Smart. My God, is Maxwell Smart. I know this is a NFL football show, but this run Max is on is unbelievably spectacular on our show. He's at beating the Black 6 of his last 7 shows, plus 18.57 units over those 7 shows.
Damn.
Yeah, he's running hot, baby. It's great. It's great. It's a perfect time. Christmas is here, and he's putting money in our pockets. Christian Larson ready to go. We got Josiah Spires. We have Chase Warwick. A great group. Let's get to work. There is a Birdie ready to go. Okay, so let's review what happened last week and the Steelers that I was so confident in. Really, that first half, getting the 6.5 when it was 7.5 come showtime, really hurt. But a lot hurt me. I ended up 7-10, down 4.05 units. It's been rough. It has been a rough 6 weeks or so. There's still time to pull it out of the fire now, but that's what it's become. 7-10, down 4.05 units. Lost with that Chargers Raiders under. Hit with the Panthers plus 8.5. Detroit, Tennessee under 51.5. That was predicated on Stafford not being under center, and that was bet early in the week. Falcons plus 6 cashed. That Bears Vikings under 47, just a mistake, a bias from that first time those teams have met. That Bears defense is nothing like the defense that we so vividly remember. The Jaguars was my worst call probably of the year. I was pretty bullish on them, and it cost me. Jaguars first half plus 7.5, Jaguars plus 13.5, both lost. Jacksonville, Baltimore over 47.5 cash. Chiefs -3 was a push. Giants plus 4 was a loss. That again was predicated on Daniel Jones being better this week. He wasn't even there. Steelers first half -6.5 loss. Texans team total under 20.5 cashed. A late fumble helped. Colts first half -4 push. Washington plus 6 cash. Jaguars team total over 17.5 loss, and Minshew props lost. Cowboys plus 4 cash. Browns, Giants under 44.5 cash, and Bengals team total under 12.5 was bad loss. Bebsie, you are coming off 11 wins, 9 loss week. A winning week for you, but it's dangerous with these -120 lines. You're still beating them, but that's still because we're using the licensed legal books, and that's what Bet365 gives you, and you're still in the black despite of it. You're 81-64 on the year, 55.9%. You're up 7.27 units. Your ROI is 5.01%, average line -115. You're looking good. Just to review your action so we can get on to this week's card. Bills first half -3.5 cash. Colts -7 push. Patriots, Dolphins under 42 cash. That was just a gift that I didn't open my hands up for. Jaguars plus 4 loss. Chiefs first half -2.5 cash. I pushed on the full game. Steelers first half -6.5 loss. Then we get into your props. So Singletary over 39.5 rush yards cashed. Tonyan over 3.5 receptions lost. Watson over 28.5 rush yards lost. McNichols over 19.5 rush yards lost. Brady under 41.5 passing attempts lost. Newton under 164.5 passing yards lost. McLaurin over 66.5 receiving yards win. Montgomery over 61.5 rush yards win. Shark over 46.5 receiving yards win. Ayuk over 76.5 receiving yards lost. I made the decision before the kickoff that I was putting so much money into the Jaguars that I didn't add in the Ayuk prop, and that saved me a some cash.
75, he had 75 yards.
He was right there, yeah. Falcons team total under 20.5 loss. And then Taylor over 74.5 rush yards cashed. Rivers under 24.5 completions cashed. Mostert over 56.5 rush yards cashed. And Wilson over 45.5 rush yards cashed. And the injuries reared their ugly head again with Mostert, but you still got to the mark in time. All right. Thank you, guys. There's Ron Walsek in the house. Thank you, guys, for joining us. Dan Kelly said, I did not understand your take on Jacksonville, but it did put me on Minshew 2 touchdowns over plus money. Yeah, you guys can't. I just thought that – I missed that receiving yards prop by 11 yards, and they did nothing in the first half. I just thought there'd be chances to air it out late. Dan Kelly says Mostert cashed by halftime. All right, there it is. Let's get to work. We start on Christmas, Friday, December 25th. Bebsie, any last notes on the week that was?
Honestly, it was a stressful week. I had a little too much action. I got to settle down this week, but I was so close to having a monster because that Tonyan was I missed by one catch. As I mentioned, the Mostert or the Ayuk by 1 yard. Which was killing me. And then Deshaun Watson, I said that I had the look the day before and didn't put the bet in, and then that would have cashed. I got a worse number, and then I missed by 3 yards in that. So frustrating that it wasn't a better week. Happy to be in the black, but let's clean some of those little self-inflicted wounds up.
Yes, let's do that. We have Ron Walsek, a great guy, great capper. Says best of the pandemic. Tens of thousands of pets found, loving homes. Ron Walsek, by the way, was the originator of the Greyhounds, retired Greyhounds to homes down in Florida. Back in the early 80s, Ron Walsek started that, getting the retired racehorses into homes. So just a great guy, great capper. Ron, thank you for joining us.
Good on you, Ron Walsek. Much love, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a great guy. Viper MB leans her Saints -7, Miami -3, Cleveland under 47, Tennessee +3.5. Waiting to hear the breakdowns to pull the trigger. Let's get into those breakdowns now. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Odds.com, let's get to work. We start on Christmas Day, Friday night, 4:30 p.m. Erica Taylor, thank you for the kind words, but you must have tailed the winners because it turned out not to be a good week for me, but it is nice to see your face, Erica Taylor. Thank you for joining us. Okay, let's go. Vikings 6-8, 3-3 on the road at the Saints, 10-4, 5-2 at home. Mercedes-Benz Superdome, New Orleans, Louisiana. And by the way, with the 7-10 -4.05 units, because of success in college basketball with Max and college football with our experts there, the week I went 19 wins and 18 losses. So just down a little bit of juice there. So it wasn't all bad, but whatever. I digress. Mercedes-Benz Superdome, New Orleans, Louisiana. Let's go, Bebsie. We have New Orleans opening up as 7-point favorites. The indicators are telling us that it will move to 7.5. It has yet to do that, but there's a bit of juice on the sevens. This total opened up at 52, is now at 51.5 or 51. Vikings coming off 33-27 home loss to the Bears. Their defense looks bad. They played without star linebacker Eric Kendricks for the third straight game. He remains questionable for this week. Chicago punted only once on the opening possession. Montgomery rushed 32 times for a career high 146 yards, and Bebsie was on that spot. The Vikings defense looks bad. Kirk Cousins, 24-35, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Who can you always count on? The great Dalvin Cook, 24 rushes, 132 yards, 1 touchdown. Justin Jefferson caught 8 passes for 104 yards, and Adam Thielen has struggled since coming back from COVID. 2 passes for 11 yards, was only targeted 3 times. Troy Dye, linebacker, left in the third quarter with a concussion. He's in concussion protocol. Tight end Kyle Rudolph missed another game, and defensive end Ifeadi Odenigbo are questionable. Saints coming off 32-29 loss at home to the Chiefs in their first game with Drew Brees back. He looked very rusty early. He ended up 15 of 34 for 234 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. He had no completions and 1 interception on his first 6 passes. They went 3 and out in their first 4 drives. Their offense came in ranked 5th in the NFL on third down, converting 46.5% of the time. They went 1 for 11 on third down. Not only that, but they let the Chiefs go 9 of 18. Kamara ran 11 times for 54 yards, caught 3 passes for 40 yards. Emmanuel Sanders caught 4 passes for 76 yards. Remember, Michael Thomas is on injured reserve. Receiver Traquan Smith and safety Marcus Williams each left with ankle injuries in the second half. They're both listed as questionable. Center Nick Easton, defensive tackle Malcolm Brown, defensive end Trey Hendrickson are all listed as questionable. Bebsie, Friday night, Christmas night. This is going to be a fun game. What is there a move to make here in Viking Saints?
To be honest with you, both of these teams have been playing poorly as of late. So for that reason, I think there's a bit of value in taking the Vikings just because, look, if they're both going to play bad, I don't expect a blowout or a large margin of victory here, especially with the way, look, Drew Brees looked terrible. He looked terrible to start that game. He got it together a little bit. I don't know if that was just him getting back into the swing of things or what, but I have no confidence in either one of these teams right now. I think probably closer to this game, I might look at some props. Dalvin Cook might be a little too high. Who knows, especially because he'll be going up against the Saints defense. Maybe be lucky to get a good enough number. But if I had a free play here, I would take the Vikings and the under. But I can't get a read on either one of these teams as of late. I think the Saints are more likely to get it together before the playoffs start, and that has a lot to do with not just their coach, but the veteran leadership on their team. But right now, it's just too many points for me to take the Saints, and I can't lay money with the Vikings the way they're playing, especially a soundbite that went viral with Justin Jefferson screaming and swearing at Kirk Cousins. That's a rookie receiver already frustrated with Kirk Cousins. You have to figure Kirk is out the door after this, and maybe Justin's just like, whatever, I'm the new kid in town, I don't give a shit. But yeah, for me, there's nothing overly enticing in this game for me.
I agree. So what do we know is this Vikings defense is bad, getting worse, and I don't see them rushing back Kendricks if the playoffs are gone for them. The playoffs are gone. So, I don't think they're mathematically eliminated yet. I have to double check that, but it's a very low percentage. And then, so we know that the Vikings defense is bad. We could attack a team total for the Saints, but do we trust Breeze? And you're saying that you don't, understandably so. The team totals aren't out. We could.
If I'm being honest, I didn't trust Breeze earlier in the season. Like I've said multiple times, I don't trust Breeze, and that was before he broke 300 ribs and came back and looked. He's looked bad all year, in my opinion. He's looked abysmal in this game. So, I don't know how you can have any confidence in him right now. If you do, you're either a Saints fan or crazy.
Yeah, there's really nothing that jumps out at me here. I guess, what can we expect this Saints team total at? 29? 29 and a half?
Yeah, and again, you're betting you're betting against a bad Vikings defense, not on a strong offense, if that.
Yeah, there's Ron Burgundy's already got team totals for us. Thank you, Ron. The 30.5 for the Saints at FanDuel and 21.5 for the Vikings. There's nothing that's screaming at me to pull the trigger. What if I forced you to make a $500 bet on a side total, team total, first half side or total? What would you do?
If you forced me to make a bet, I don't know. That's tough. Again, even with Ron Burgundy with these team totals, I think I would bet Vikings under 21.5 with a free $500 bet.
Yeah. Interesting. There's your Friday. Guy, I'd like to have action on Christmas night, but we know what Christmas is all about. An NBA basketball. I'm going to be beating the shit out of that NBA card. So I don't feel forced to attack this. We also have a bowl game that I can attack. So I'm not going to As soon as I start saying that, my palms is fucking.
I can honestly, I could see value in Kamara props come game night.
Yeah,
especially because you have to figure the game plan from Sean Payton is, split Breeze's snaps up a little more, but they're just going to get him comfortable. And a lot of that is going to be the short passing game to Kamara. So I think Kamara's passing yards against a team without Barr and without Kendricks is probably going to be a nice little look. You've got to wait until that number comes out. But
I thought about doing that this past Sunday, and I would have lost. So I was with you. I thought that Breeze, the check down king, would be looking for Kamara, especially after Taysom Hill didn't. And he caught 3 passes for 40 yards. Birdie says 2 games from the playoffs. Why overuse Kamara?
I don't know if they'll overuse him, Birdie. I just think they'll go to him because what's more important, getting Kamara a reasonable number of snaps or getting Breeze back into the swing of things before the playoffs? Because if he's not ready to go for the playoffs, if he's not feeling comfortable, their season's over anyways. I agree with you. I don't think I don't think the guy should get 25 touches or anything, but they're going to get him the ball.
Let's move to Saturday, December 26th action, 1 p.m. Eastern. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Detroit Lions. Buccaneers 9-5, 5-2 on the road. At the Lions 5-9, 1-5 at home. We're in Ford Field, Detroit, Michigan. One of the things I was so excited about this year, Bebsie, moving back to Canada, back to Toronto from Costa Rica, was to get to drive down to Ford Field and watch games, get to be in Buffalo at Orchard Park to watch games. I was extremely excited about it. I mean, we're 5 hours from Pittsburgh. And not getting up, but I'm telling you, next year I'm going to be traveling to these spots, especially Detroit. I love the city very, very much. Let's talk about this spot here. Total at 54. There are 53s from the indicator book, so it's going down. There's 53.5s as well. Tampa Bay opens up at -7. That's moved to 9.5. Buccaneers coming off 31-27 win at Atlanta, assured themselves of their first winning season since 2010, moved closer to their first playoff berth in 13 years. They were down 17-0 at the half before storming back. I was on the Falcons, and I was fortunate even to cash, unbelievably so. Brady was 31-45 for a season-high 390 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that's what kind of caught me was in that second half. I was like, he's really feeling Evans and Antonio Brown right now. He threw for 320 yards in the second half. I'm very curious to see if this carries over into the playoffs. Evans caught 6 passes for 110 yards. Brown caught 5 passes for 93 yards, 1 touchdown. With Ronald Jones out, the Bucs averaged just 2.8 yards per carry, rushing. They rushed for 51 yards on 18 attempts. Jones still on the reserve COVID list. He also had that pinky surgery done. Fournette's is not that good anymore. It's strange to see these running backs kind of fall off at such a young age. 14 carries for 49 yards, 2 TDs. Did you want to add to that, Bebsie?
No, it's just that, look, Fournette got overused at LSU. That's why. And that guy had so much mileage coming out of college that you can't expect a guy. And sadly, I feel like Jonathan Taylor's going to be more of the same. I don't see him being dominant for long. I hope he is, and I wish these guys the best. But yeah, Fournette coming out of LSU had already taken an absolute pounding.
God, what a tough position. It is such a tough position. Dan Kelly says there's another strain of the virus coming, Jim. Don't put any down payments on those travel plans. Look, Dan, I got to stay positive. This summer, we're going to be at Saratoga betting the horses together, Dan. I am going to stay positive. Life is going to come back this summer. Bucs have been outscored. There's a couple interesting trends here. And the first ones that come to mind is the Bucs getting destroyed in the first quarter and the Jets scoring on their opening drive for 8 weeks in a row.
Wild.
So why are we not on Jets first quarter every week? Bucs have been outscored 59-7 in the first quarter over their past 6 games. What do you make of that stat, Bebsie?
I don't know. I mean, usually when a team doesn't start on time, you blame the coach.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, put this on Arians. His team isn't starting on time, and they're not. They don't seem ready to go at game time. And that's problematic because, better teams aren't going to let you back into these games. Sure, you can come back against teams like Atlanta, or for example, if the Detroit Lions sneak out to a lead, then that lead's not safe against those teams. But against better competition, you better believe that lead is not going to be easy to make up.
Devin White, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Come playoff time, a first half fade. That's such a good point. Such a good point. Devin White had all 3 of Tampa's sacks. It's his second 3-sack game of the season. He's the only player in the NFL with 2 this season. He's rolling. Cornerback Carlton Davis, who leads the team with 4 picks, left the Falcons game with a groin injury. He's listed as questionable. This has been a pretty healthy team other than a Vita Vea injury. Lions coming off 46-25 loss to Tennessee. Stafford 22-32 for 252 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Played without center Frank Ragnow, who had that throat punch. And right tackle Tyrell Crosby with an ankle injury. But he wasn't sacked, interestingly enough, in that beatdown. They're both listed as questionable to play this week. DeAndre Swift came in, ran 15 times for 67 yards. Marvin Jones caught 10 passes for 112 yards. Their defense was awful. I mean, I know the Titans have a really nice offense, but Titans put up 6 touchdowns on 8 possessions. That's not counting the kneel out. Halapulavati Vaitai started for Terrell Crosby, and then he was ruled out in the second half with a concussion. That's when I expected them to get after Stafford. And I thought Stafford was pulled late in the game because they were so concerned about that offensive line that didn't seem to hurt them. Cornerback Mike Ford also hurt his foot. He's listed as questionable. Cornerback Dale Roberts listed as questionable. Defensive end Deshaun Hand has been placed on injured reserve. What do we do with this one, Bebsie? Saturday, December 26th, now 9.5-point favorites with Tampa on the road. It's similar to that Giants spot where they were big favorites on the road. Is it possible to back the Lions here?
No. I mean, look, if you want to back the Lions, if you're going to back somebody, I think I'd back the Lions, and that's just because of the points. But I can't back either one of these teams. Even within games, the Tampa Bay Bucs are unpredictable. Like inside of not week to week, within like quarter to quarter, they're completely different teams. They have a different identity in the first quarter that they do in the second quarter to the third. It makes them extremely difficult to bet. And every single time I've laid a bet with them this year, regardless of what it is, even with props, I cannot cash on this Bucs team. And maybe it's because of this show and the way I have slandered Brady. It's gotten a lot of this chat upset, and maybe that's karma. I'm sorry. Tom is a very good quarterback. Not anymore. He's been a liability for a huge chunk of the season. But, yeah, I can't find an angle that I want to play in this. I really don't. I can't figure out why they're rolling Stafford, why the Detroit Lions are rolling Stafford out there each week. Like you said, he didn't get sacked this week, but – man, that guy still takes a pounding. He still pulls himself off the mat. He's playing for a team that he might not even be with next year. I don't know. Like, give the guy a damn break.
Yeah, and I think there's a very nice point, Princess City. I love it. We know you're going to be up in Toronto. I think there's a very nice point made by Nutflush here when he says multiple players talking after the game about how they feel great with Tom as a leader. That's been there before, and he thinks that carries over into the game. Because the one thing I was left with after watching that last spot was, man, if Mike Evans starts rolling, and we know he's been a red zone threat all year, but he starts rolling for big plays, and Antonio Brown does too, this team might be tricky to stop.
I think there is no reason on paper why this team doesn't put up 40 points every single week. So maybe that's the play if you really think that they're believing in Tom and they're getting behind him as a leader, and Godwin is getting further and further away from that injury and starting to wake up, and Evans is starting to wake up, then maybe you bet the Bucs team total over in this.
Yeah, maybe you do. Now it's going to be
actually with a dog shit Lions defense.
Oh, yeah, they're just atrocious. It's going to be high, but this just makes a ton of sense.
Nutflush, that's the closest to a real apology you're going to get from me. So you either got to take it or leave it, baby.
I think the Buccaneers team total over is a very interesting idea, and I almost want to take it first half. Oh, Guillermo, it's as nice of a card as I can remember. I mean, I know that the December 26th cards at Cinninnati are always spectacular, but come on. Nashville versus Charlatan? Again, my palms just start leaking when I say that. The only concern is if the Bucs are so far ahead. I know they get off to these slow starts, so I almost wrote Bucs first half, and then I couldn't do it.
What do you have for a team total over?
We don't have it yet, but I could go over to I'm going to go over to FanDuel and see what they are offering here. And we got a lot of action ahead of us, so I want to get through this. So we'll close this game on figuring out this team total here. Let's go over to the good people at FanDuel Sportsbook. And the team total at FanDuel is 31.5.
Against this Lions defense, I think that is very doable.
I think that is a very nice team total, and I do not think Bet365 will give it to us at that number. I think that's a great look. I think it's a great look. Bucs, team total over. Yeah, I think that's the look here. Okay, and if that's the look, no, just leave it at that. Okay, we move on to 4:30 p.m. action on December 26th, Saturday, December 26th. Prince of the City. I love that shit. Okay. San Francisco 49ers 5-9, 4-3 on the road. Arizona Cardinals 8-6, 4-3 at home. State Farm Stadium, Glendale, Arizona. Arizona opening up at -4. They're now up to -5. Bebsie, with our Niners, it was such an easy. I wanted it on the Tuesday. You told me not to. By waiting until Sunday, I got a better number on the Cowboys. It's just that Mullins, who now will not be starting, Mullins is just so untrustworthy with picks and turnovers and fumbles that it
does not protect that ball.
You have to fade the Niners when he's the starter, and overs are going to be in play, team totals with the opposition. It was a very comfortable win with the Dallas +4. Niners coming out 41-33 loss at Dallas, only the second team in the past 13 seasons that will have a losing record this season after losing the Super Bowl. Carolina went 6-10 in 2016. Bebsie, I talked to you about whether we wanted to go in on another, like a hedge fund deal with the Niners this year, and I'm so thankful that we didn't. And that
there was no way to predict $100 million worth of salary cap on IR.
No, but after such a tough, long year full of success, it's just not. We talk about buying low and selling high. And I think that's the reason why we sort of didn't pull the trigger. There's Sabino Anguano. We have not seen Sabino in a while. Man, it's been so long. In fact, I remember the last time you joined us, Sabino, you gave us Italy at +300 that cashed. Sabino in the house. Great to have you. So let's go back. So they had multiple turnovers in the last 8 games, longest such streak since 2008. 4 of the 7 Dallas scores were set up by turnovers. 5th came on an onside kick return. Mullins, 21-36, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He also fumbled. The 49ers are 2-6 in games that he started. Better came in after Mullins lost sensation in his elbow after being hit on the hand, not because of the interceptions. Mullins will undergo elbow surgery. He's done for the season. But Jimmy Garoppolo has been designated to return from injured reserve. That's not just for show. Is he starting this week?
No, I think C.J. Beathard is starting this week. I don't imagine Jimmy Garoppolo takes the field this week. They opened his practice window. I mean, it's a real bad look if they rush him out there and that leg isn't ready to go again and he has to come out. So especially the season's over. You're not putting him in there, whether he's the starter next year or not. I can't see them rolling him out there, not completely healthy. They even said they might play Kittle this weekend, which I think is just a mistake. As much as I love seeing that guy on the field, just shut him down for the year. Like, why risk anything at this point? I think C.J. Beathard is going to be at the helm. They signed Josh Rosen, and if he passes COVID protocols, he might actually be the backup against the team that drafted him this week. And listen, C.J. Beathard is – let's put it this way. Nick Mullins was starting over him. So that tells you what kind of a player CJ Beathard is. The only thing CJ is good at is taking an absolute beating and throwing the ball deep. That's one thing he does relatively well. So if CJ Beathard's starting, I don't know, I might look at an Ayuk pass prop again, go back to that well and see if I can't even it out. But I cannot put any stock in them if Beathard is the starter.
David Sharp says, is it a Dwelly play if Beathard's in? That Dwelly play that you almost made was very, very sharp.
I know I should have hit it. I hate myself for leaving. That was another thing I hated myself for staying off of, because he cashed that in one catch. But David Sharp, if that's available and low, I think it's a good look. You're absolutely right. Beathard does love his tight ends. He also loves holding on to the ball too long.
Okay, I am close to a double up fade on our Niners. Let's keep going. So that Jimmy G insight was very good. You know this team so well, and I enjoy capping all games with you, but especially these Niners games. Kendrick Bourne led receivers with 4 catches for 86 yards, 1 touchdown. Mostert ran 14 times for 68 yards before injuring his ankle, put on injured reserve. His season is over. Jeff Wilson ran 16 times for 60 yards, also suffered an ankle injury and is listed as questionable. Wilson's ankle's been, hobbling him for weeks now, and I can't take a prop on Wilson because of that, even though I couldn't. Your prop was so ballsy with Mostert and Wilson. I'm so glad that you smashed them both, because I was sitting there chewing my fingernails worrying about them getting hurt. Niners outgained the Cowboys 458-291, and that's what turnovers will give you, losses. Cowboys had no turnovers. Mostert left with an ankle injury. Oh, yeah, I've already said that he's done. Safety Jimmy Ward sustained a concussion late in the first. He's in concussion protocol. Defensive end Deion Jordan injured a knee. He's listed as questionable. Hronis Grasu, their center. Cornerback Jason Verrett. Safety Tavares Moore, all this is questionable. Hronis Grasu, center. I should have said their center, center. George Kittle. In the league. George Kittle is pushing to be activated off injured reserve and play. He's been pushing hard, and I don't know why you would give him the opportunity, really.
George wants to play. It's not the coaches don't want him to play, but he's out there running around healthy. It's kind of hard for them to say you can't play, but
Viper says Arizona open -3, but it's -5.5 now. Maybe missed the boat. I didn't know what the hell was going on with Jimmy G. I probably should have just called Bebsie, but there's 16 games.
I can't see Jimmy G starting. I suppose there is an outside chance that he does. I don't see it. It'll probably be Beathard. To me, this is going to be a props look again in this game, and especially the Kyler Murray rush prop, which is a well we haven't gone to for a while. But Kyler looked pretty healthy this week. He was running a little bit more. And if there is a team that struggles against mobile quarterbacks, it's the San Francisco 49ers. They do not contain well when they rush mobile quarterbacks. And I'm assuming that rush prop comes out around 50. And if it does anywhere near there, I'm going to take that Kyler Murray rush prop, because all running quarterbacks torch this Niners D. Because they play super aggressive. It's all gas, no brakes on the defense for them. And if you're a mobile quarterback, you can absolutely burn them. So that, look for that come game time.
Cardinals coming off 33-26 home win over the Eagles. Kyler Murray, 27-36, career high, 406 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Really seems like he's rolling. I don't have the number in front of me, but I believe he ran for 29 yards in the last game. So he still hasn't quite broken out, but I hear what you're saying. Broken out since that Dunlap hit that hurt his shoulder. DeAndre Hopkins, 9 passes for a season high, 169 yards, 1 touchdown. Chase Edmonds ran 11 times for 47 yards. Kenyon Drake struggled, ran 10 times for 26 yards. Hassan Reddick and Dennis Gardeck continued to have breakout seasons. Reddick, career high 11 sacks. Gardeck had 2 on Sunday, but he was carted to the locker room with an undisclosed injury. I don't know if any of you guys in the chat know what's going on with him, but I couldn't get any information. He's listed as questionable. Cornerback Patrick Peterson got called for 2 pass interference penalties on 1 drive. He got caught out of position multiple times. No one's afraid to throw at Patrick Peterson anymore. And he's just 30. Max Williams his ankle left near the end of the first half didn't return. He's listed as questionable. Cornerback Robert Alford was placed on COVID injured reserve on Monday. Center Lamont Gaylord listed as out. Safety Jalen Thompson, guard Justin Pugh, linebacker Kyle Fritz are listed as questionable. Defensive end Jordan Phillips placed on injured reserve. This is a Cardinals double up spot, and I don't know exactly when to bet it. Obviously, I missed the boat. I didn't know what was going on with Jimmy G. If Jimmy G is in, I'll get a better line, and I still want to make the bet. And if he's out, for sure I'll get a worse line, and I should make it now. So you predict that Beathard will be behind center?
I think so. I can't see them rushing Jimmy G back for a meaningless game. I kind of agree with the fact that I think getting Arizona at 3 was the time to get them. I can see them somehow keeping this game close. But look, it's every week there's guys getting carted off the field for the Niners, and I don't know how much fire they're going to be playing with. I do think Kittle's going to be a big lift, and I'm with David Sharp. If Kittle does play, smashing his over yards is a good idea, especially with Beathard at the helm. So for me, it's going to be a props look and maybe a heavy props look in this game come Sunday. Obviously not going to double up on the running backs again because I just don't think that's even an option. But yeah, I mean, watch that line, Jimmy. If you can get it closer to 3, I could possibly see it being bet back down. But we'll see.
So your advice would be to wait?
I mean, what are you sitting at right now for it?
First half's at -3, full game's at -5, although there are 4s and 4.5s on the board. -5, bet 365. And the team total at FanDuel, because this total is going down. This total is dropping at this point.
Let's put it this way. The Niners have been abysmal as of late with Mullins at the helm. Their defense is playing very, very well, very admirably considering the turnovers and the injuries that they've had to endure. But CJ Beathard is worse than Nick Mullins. So take that for what you want.
Team total at 27 for the Cardinals.
Hey, Beathard does not protect the ball either. He will throw the shit out of that ball right into traffic.
I want the Cardinals. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the night game on Saturday, December 26th. Just set this up for us here. All right, let's go. Dolphins at Raiders. Dolphins 9-5, 4-2 on the road at the Raiders 7-7, 2-5 at home. Allegiant Stadium, Las Vegas, Nevada. Sorry, move that over here. Got too many things open here. Dolphins open up at -2. They're now -3. This total opened up at 47.5. The indications are that it will go up to 48 soon. And by the way, FanDuel is not hanging the 5. FanDuel has moved that to 5.5 for the Cardinals. Dolphins coming off a 22-12 win at home over the Patriots. Dennis Garcia, you, Rob, a bunch of you guys were bullish on the under, and that was one of the spots that really upset me. That it had only moved a point down to 41. They're coming off 22-12 win at home over the Patriots. Tua Tagovailoa, 20 of 26, 145 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Dolphins ran 42 times for 250 yards. We'll get more of that when we talk about the Patriots. But Salvon Ahmed was a beast. 23 rushes, 122 yards, 1 touchdown. Breda ran 12 times, 36 yards. Good to see Breda moving. Dolphins entered the game last in the league in yards per carry, and Ahmad became their first 100-yard rusher since 2018. Wow. Their 3 most productive pass catchers were sitting out with injuries. Durham Smythe led receivers with 5 catches for 40 yards. Devontae Parker, Jakeem Grant, and Mike Gesicki, they're all questionable this week. Guard Solomon Kinley limped off the field in the third quarter. He's listed as questionable. Myles Gaskin was out last week with an illness. Not COVID, but an illness. They hope to have him back this week. Offensive tackle Eric Flowers is listed as questionable. Raiders on extra rest and preparation after their 30-27 overtime loss to the Chargers. 4th loss in 5 games. Listen to this stat. You know it already, but I just love it. I just love this stat. I don't mean to be such a hater, but Gruden's career winning percentage in December is .377. Of the 81 coaches in the Super Bowl era who have coached more than 25 December games in the regular season, he is the 6th worst winning percentage, 23-38.
Well,
give this guy $10 million a year. What fucking idiots!
Hey, the silver lining is they've only got 7 years and $70 million left on a contract. So,
what are they fucking doing? What are they fucking doing?
I don't know how you give a coach $100 million contract when he hasn't coached in a decade. I mean, that's a Davis family move. Why would we expect anything different from the son of Al Davis?
It's atrocious. It's fucking atrocious. And I love it. Raiders haven't, but I love the city of Las Vegas. My favorite city where my parents met in Vegas. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for good times in Vegas. And so I don't want them stuck with this fucking ass clown. Raiders haven't officially been eliminated from playoff contention, but their chances are on life support. Derek Carr left in the first quarter with a groin injury. So Gruden says he's 50-50 to play, which I'm surprised at. Marcus Mariota came in and looked very, very good. Dan Kelly said, I'd love to know what the differential is between his December winning percentage and the rest of the season. I could do that math if I have very little time.
If you want to do that math, I can tell you what I think of this game right now.
No, I don't mean doing it here. I mean on my own after I smoke a bat. Raiders haven't officially been eliminated. Oh, sorry, I said that already. Marcus Mariota came in and looked better than expected. He ended up 17-28, 226 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also ran 9 times for 88 yards, 1 touchdown. I was impressed. I mean, I was happy that he threw the pick so that, life continues on as we know it.
You back, Jimmy?
Yeah, sorry.
You froze there.
Okay, I'm back. We back?
Yeah, you're good.
Were you impressed with Mariota? I certainly was.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say I've always been a Mariota supporter. I just always thought Mariota was better than he looked when he was with the Titans. So it was nice to see him play well. I know there's people in the chat waiting to be like, you think Mariota's good? No, I don't think Mariota's good. I think he's better than he has played. So it was nice to see him play well. Christian Larson's got a good point. Battle of the YN QBs. And also Tua really looked up to Mariota, apparently. So that it's kind of a cool storyline. But as far as this storyline goes, I mean, I'm all Dolphins in this one. And again, it just comes down to which team is playing well at this time of year. And the Miami Dolphins are playing well, and their defense is still great. And look, Mariota might be able to come in and surprise a team. Like, if you're not game planning for Mariota, I can understand why he would come in and play well. You game plan for Derek Carr, and then Mariota comes in, completely different style quarterback. So I could see how that would be difficult mid-game to make that adjustment. Miami's not going to have that problem this week. I think they have no trouble shutting them down. And even though I'm not a big Tua backer at this stage in his career, again, like him, hope the best for him, want him to succeed. I just like the Dolphins in this spot. I think the Raiders have a weak defense. Their offense is going to be limited with Mariota in there. It's going to be different. It's still going to be limited. And I just think it's Miami or nothing here. And someone in the chat posted that Miami's available -3 Viper, -3 +100 on FanDuel right now. Yeah.
Sitting at -3 right now. They opened at 2.5. And that's where David Sharp got him.
I'm gonna jump on that.
I agree. Let's see what Brady says. I can't bet aside on this one at this point. Raiders offense is night and day better than the current Pats offense. Tread lightly today, I would say. Let's talk about this Raiders offense briefly. Darren Waller caught 9 passes for 150 yards and 1 touchdown against the Chargers. He has 425 yards receiving the past 3 games. That's the most ever in a 3-game span for a tight end. Josh Jacobs ran 26 times for 76 yards and a touchdown. They can't get any pressure. Max Crosby's gone 5 straight games without a sack. Everybody was talking about Max Crosby early in the year, playing 82% of the defensive snaps. looks like he's wearing down. They only had 1 sack and a handful of quarterback hits. Cornerback Trayvon Mullen was penalized 4 times. That's the most for a single Raiders player in 4 years. He was beaten in coverage. Hunter Renfrow, concussion protocol. He's out. Gruden expects Henry Ruggs to return to practice late next week from COVID-19. So that is a comment I pulled. So he's hopeful that he will be back in this game. Also, Cleveland Farrell, Nicholas Morrow, Damon Arnett, and Jonathan Abram open to return after missing the game with injuries. So we have Tack McKinley, who cares, injured reserve. Henry Ruggs, they're hoping to get back. Hunter Renfrow, concussion protocol. Derek Carr, significant groin injury. Expected to have a 10 to 14-day recovery timeline, and the 10-day at the earliest would have him back in time. I still don't think. I think Jalen Richard, questionable. Cornerback Daryl Worley, reserve COVID list. Isaiah Johnson, cornerback, reserve COVID list. Eric Harris, safety, reserve COVID list. They've got 3 guys now on the COVID list, and that could balloon. Damon Arnett, Abram, Cleveland Farrell, Nicholas Marlowe. I spoke about those guys. Nevin Lawson, questionable. Yeah, this is a Dolphins bet here.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of getting some pieces back, the Dolphins are just a better rounded team right now. And look, if Salvon Ahmed or Breda can build on the games they had last week, it's going to be a real difficult spot for the Raiders to even control the ball. Because if the Dolphins get a run game going with that defense and Tua really just has to hand the ball off and then make the odd pass, then I really like the way this Dolphins team can look down the stretch. And again, like this late in the season on a close line, I personally like to look at coaches in this. And I mean, we were just taking pot shots at Gruden for what he's done. And Brian Flores has done an absolutely incredible job with this Dolphins team. So this just screams Dolphins for me.
All right. Well, let's start shopping for you. Wow. There's 1 2.5 available still. Jesus. You're a lucky man, Bebsie.
I'll take it.
Minus 2.5 and minus 115. BetMGM. Okay, so Bebsie's on the board. His first look. As you guys have noticed, Bebsie's been pretty tight on the Tuesday show, and then lately he's just been opening up on the Sunday show and hammering, double-digit props. Pretty impressive with the juice that we're taking at Bet365 minus 120. You know what? I should start line shopping for you. The minus 2.5. The fact that you're succeeding at minus 120 is. We should have FanDuel props up too, Bebsie. It's just too hard. You're going 11-9. You're up 0.37 units because of that minus 120. Dolphins minus 115 at BetMGM for Bebsie. And this is the same with me. Rob Watkins says Dolphins due for a loss.
What? I don't know. You could say that about anything.
I'm gonna come in on the Dolphins. I'm going to come in on the Dolphins as well. Very quickly, we need to move on, but what do you think of this total sitting at 47.5?
If anything, I do like an over. I'm not going to – I don't like it one way or another too much, but I would lean over in this. Again, actually, I don't know. You know what? As I'm saying this, with Mariota in – it feels like under would be the play.
I was leaning under. I was surprised that the market had gone up, and then if you want the under, don't bet it now. Sit back because the indicators are that it's going to go up to 48. Gerald Jones is a good point. Says can't bet Raiders under, but can you maybe with Mariota?
Yeah, a very, very different team with Mariota at the helm.
I'm going to take the under, but I'm not going to bet it tonight. I think that I would prefer that 48.
Nilo, that's an excellent point. The Jets are due for a loss. Oh, the Jets.
We'll get there soon. That is Saturday's action. Friday and Saturday's action. Let's move on to Sunday and attack. Sunday, December 27th. We're just going down the rotation numbers. Very easy to follow along. We are going to start with the Cleveland Browns at New York Jets. Man, I will forever be thankful to the New York Jets. It wasn't the best weekend of NFL, but it was a hugely profitable weekend for me because I won the Survivor pool. And I won it because the other two guys left had the Rams. And glorious. 15 straight weeks of picking a winner. It's my first time ever winning a Survivor Pool, too. So it was extremely, extremely enjoyable. And I'll always be thankful to these New York Jets. And, nice score. Nice, big, juicy score, baby. And it was in my account so fast. It just felt so good. Browns 10-4, 5-2 on the road at the Jets, 1-13, 0-7 at home. MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, 37 Fahrenheit, mostly sunny, 6 miles per hour. This Browns team is playing good football. Good football. It's too bad Greedy wasn't out there. It's too bad. But even you see the difference when Denzel Ward's out there. I mean, it's a huge difference. Imagine if it was Denzel and Greedy. This Cleveland team's going to be good for a while. And a good thing for all these Cleveland fans. And
they deserve it. Come on, they deserve it.
And the great city of Cleveland. Dan Kelly says, do we have to take New York Jets first quarter? Dan, you know me, I can't do it after.
You have to figure now the Jets, because I was saying on Sunday, I said on Tuesday that players don't phone it in. Players don't tank, but organizations do. And the New York Jets organization could not tank properly. Frank Gore, the legend. Frank Gore with the ice, with the catch to put the game on ice was beautiful. But I gotta feel like the Jets implode now, right? Like they did it. They're not gonna go 0-16. They're not gonna join the Lions and the Browns as the only teams to ever do it. It's got to be a blowout from the Browns, right?
Yeah. Okay, the Browns are sitting at 9.5-point favorites. The indications from the leading indicator books is that it's going to go to 10 shortly. Although there is an 8.5 on the board. So that's crazy. So, but the indicator is going to go to 10. That might be a stale line. I'd have to double check it. The total opened up at 44. It's gone up to 47. Dan Kelly, in the 60-year history of the Jets, they have never previously scored in 7 consecutive first quarters, let alone 9. Yeah, I can't. This is way too late to the party. 8 straight. I cannot believe after because in NBA, I love the first quarter dog. And I look at my ROI. I'm sure it's not that good even, but I love it. And I would love it here. 8 weeks in a row. Browns coming off 20-6 win at the Giants. Mayfield 27 of 32, 297 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 84.3% completion percentage, set a Cleveland record, topping Kelly Holcomb. What a franchise. Kelly Holcomb's 82.9% in 2003. Rashard Higgins caught 4 passes. I can't believe Bernie can't be on there, man. Rashard Higgins caught 4 passes for 76 yards. Nick Chubb ran 15 times for 50 yards. Right guard Chris Hubbard hurt a knee on the second offensive play after he started in place of Wyatt Teller. He's on injured reserve, and Wyatt Teller is doubtful. That's the only danger spot right now for this Brown squad. Defensive tackle Sheldon Richardson didn't come back after he hurt his neck. Stefanski said the x-rays were negative. He's listed as questionable. Safety Elijah Benton is listed as out. Safety Andrew Sendejo is questionable. Jets coming off their first victory of the season, 23-20 at the Rams, the 17.5-point dogs. Now they're not in position for the top pick of the NFL draft. Jacksonville will likely win the tiebreaker based on strength of schedule. That's wild. I can't even believe it. Oh, God. You kind of – we deal with this so much in other sports. You kind of want Trevor Lawrence to be in the Big Apple instead of fucking Jackson.
No, I don't. I want to see Trevor Lawrence have a long, successful NFL career. That's what I want. I just want – I love seeing good players be great, and I want to see that. I just can't – this Jets organization is a mess.
No, there's truth to that. Sam Darnold – 22 of 31, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Jamison Crowder caught 6 passes for 66 yards. Frank Gore, as you said, looked good. Looked okay. Ran 23 times for 59 yards, got a touchdown. Jets started out, as we've talked about, the opening possession. Defensive lineman Quinnen Williams left in the second half. He's in concussion protocol. Wide receiver Jeff Smith hurt his shoulder. He's questionable. And LaMichael Pirine is eligible to come off injured reserve, but he was eligible last week and wasn't taken off of injured reserve. So, Bebsie, is there a move for you to make?
My only apprehension is that Wyatt Teller injury, but look, I can't imagine if Quentin Williams is in concussion protocol, I can't see them playing him. He's a star they're trying to build their defense around. They got their win. Whether they wanted it or not, they got their win. I can't see him playing. So if Teller's out, the biggest problem would be having to play, Quentin Williams being the matchup against it. But with Quentin Williams out, I don't know if Wyatt Teller's even going to have an effect in this. I think the way Cleveland has been playing, now they got Denzel Ward back, and now with the skid from the Steelers, the Browns are looking at possibly taking this division. So I feel like this is a Browns look, is it not?
I feel like it is too. What do you think of Birdie saying they got the Steelers on deck? Could be a look ahead.
I don't know. The Steelers got the Colts this week, and they really need to get their shit together. So I don't see a look ahead. I don't believe in look aheads, especially when, this Browns team, you can't look ahead right now because they are looking to possibly win this division. So there is no look ahead. You have to take this, the cliche 1 week at a time. But I don't know.
Do you want to make a move?
David Sharp so much on that call.
Yeah, it's a very, very good call that David Sharp's saying because you believe in Darnold. So, what do you think here of this Browns Jet spot, Bebsie? I'm hesitant to make a move at this point.
I'm hesitant because I'm laying money with the Browns, but the Browns aren't the Browns anymore. I don't know. You got to feel like they got their win. You said they're still an 8.5?
Yeah, let me just make sure that it's not a stale line here. And shout out to the legend Peter Loshak, who taught us so well. Yeah, that's a stale line. So there's only 9.5s and 10s. And shout out to legend Lodels Loshak, who taught us that honesty, transparency, start there. So do you want to pull the trigger on the 9.5? A minus 110.
Let's revisit this at the end of the show. I'm going to put a question mark beside it for now.
What do you think about the first half look?
Not with the way the Jets have been on fire coming out the gates.
That's true. Okay, and then quickly on that total, does that give you any interest at the total here sitting at 47? It's 37 Fahrenheit. It's a nice morning. A little chilly, but nice morning in East Rutherford.
Total 46, 47.
Yeah.
The way Cleveland has played weaker teams, I would lean under in this, which makes me worry about that line. But
I would lean under as well.
Yeah. I don't know if I agree with Nutflesh Allen. I think Baker's been good with having a leash on him lately. But he is – no, maybe I don't. He has been opening up his game a little bit now that, they know they can control a game on the ground very well. And he just has to not screw up. I mean, Baker's a talented player. I think when he's not being a sucky baby, he plays well.
A great point by Dan Kelly, Browns 2 consecutive games in the same stadium. But I also love. I agree that the 44 might have been a little low, but I love that it's gone up to 47. I think the under is the play, and I'm going to bet it. All right, under 47. I'm going to move on it. Let's move on to our next spot, and we go to Bengals, Houston Texans. This line has just come out recently. Texans open up at -9. That's gone down to 8.5. There are 8s. This totals around 45 or 46, depending on where you shop. We're in Energy Stadium, Houston, Texas. Bengals are on a short week after their surprising 27-17 win at home over the Steelers. Injury-plagued Bengals had lost 5 straight. They'd averaged 10 points per game. They've rarely looked competitive since Burrow went down. They snapped an 11-game losing streak to the Steelers. Finley, 7 of 13, 89 yards, 1 touchdown. A.J. Green led the receivers with 2 catches, 40 yards. Giovanni Bernard ran 25 times for 83 yards and 1 touchdown. Tyler Boyd left in the first with a concussion. Their top receiver left in the first with a concussion. They still put up 27 points. Finley goes 7 of 13 for 89 yards against the Steelers, and they put up 27 points. Texans are coming off a 27-20 loss to the Colts. Deshaun Watson was 33 of 41 for 373 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Kiki Kute fumbled with 19 seconds to go. I mean, it's just crazy how these storylines are so unbelievable. Unbelievable that this would happen again. Almost the exact same way. David Johnson, leading receiver with 11 catches for 106 yards. That was very, very interesting. They could only manage 83 yards on the ground from 21 carries. They started the day without Duke Johnson and C.J. Prosise because of injuries. They lose right tackle Titus Howard to a concussion, and the Titus Howard stayed in Indianapolis hospital for precautionary reasons. There you go, Bengals Texans. I thought that obviously I didn't think I was going to win the Survivor Pool last week. I was going to be taking the Texans this week in the Survivor Pool. What do you think of this spot, Bebsie? Take it away.
I don't know. I think this is 2 garbage teams. One coming off a garbage win against a franchise that is currently falling apart. So I can't put any stock in them. And also, like, for reasons we've mentioned several times, I can't put any stock in Houston. I don't have any interest in this. I mean, Viper hit the nail on the head. Houston -8 seems easy, but Watson has no wide receivers. If your look is Kiki Kuti or your David Johnson is leading the receivers, I just can't bet a team that is built that way. So there's no play in this for me. I might go back to that well and try and clean up on a Watson rush prop after it was low last week, but I've got no interest in betting this line.
Yeah, it is tricky. Birdie, my man, thank you so much for joining us. Cards -4, Rams +2.5, Packers under 46, Cards over 50 is his spots. Love it, Birdie. Dan Kelly says, since these D did look pretty good, maybe Houston team total under.
Did the Bengals D look good, or did Ben Roethlisberger look bad? Also, Juju Smith-Schuster's got to stop dancing on people's logos. It is fucking them up.
It is. Well, I don't understand why. Why do you want to give the opposition anything more?
Also, look, when T.O. did that on the Star, T.O. was dominant then. Juju Smith-Schuster's just good.
Yeah.
You can't be that big of a prick if you're just good. You have to earn being that big of a douchebag, and Juju Smith-Schuster just looks like an idiot right now. That's all.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I think it's well put. Well, we just made no move on the Bengals-Texans game. Miles Johnson jumping in. Thank you for joining us. Best bet so far. I can tell you what, we're just going down the rotation numbers, so we've just gone through Friday and Saturday, but Bebsie's only made one move here, and that is the Dolphins -2.5 and -115 at BetMGM.
I think I am going to add that Cleveland game. I've had enough time to think about it. I think the Jets ease up now that they've won.
Well, let's get that for you. We can get you the Bengals. The Browns -9.5 and -110 at FanDuel.
Let's do it.
And I'm on the under in that game.
I can't believe I'm betting the Browns.
Okay, let's
Prince. I had like 24 bets last week. I don't know what this.
That's the most I've ever seen you in my entire life.
Yeah, I got a little out of hand last week.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Hey, dude, you're hitting it 56%. The thing is that what I've got to do, I felt guilty because I was looking at your numbers and I was like, Jesus, look at all these -120s. we got to get you FanDuel props up. And I know those aren't the ones that you're betting. So you're actually giving out ones that you're betting at Bet365. So that adds to the legitimacy of it. But let's give you a better shot here at success by getting FanDuel's numbers up instead of Bet365. Okay, we move on to Colt Steelers. This is a very interesting game. 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. The Colts open up as 2.5-point dogs. Now they're 2-point favorites. I mean, this is crazy. This is just wildly interesting.
That's a wild swing. I'm super jealous. I think it was Viper who got in it at Colts +2.
But our guy in the chat, Rob Watkins, he's been saying this all year. He's been saying, look, the Steelers aren't that good. And
well, no, look at early in the year, I was very bullish on betting the Steelers, and I hit a ton. But then I stopped betting them entirely. And the first time I had bet them, I think since like probably week 6 or 7, was this week. And I could not be more wrong about that. They got spanked by the Bengals.
But it's just it's so easily explained. I mean, look at these studs they've lost. Now, I know their offense, we can't explain that, but
well, they've lost studs on defense, and Ben looks tired. Ben looks like he can't play a full season anymore.
Yeah, and Dan Kelly says maybe they're hoping to get a middle. It's a perfect opportunity to do that. Man, okay, let's roll on. You know, when I think of that stuff, Dan, I just think, man, when I'm able, I mean, these shows bring me a lot of joy, and I'm very thankful for them and all that stuff. But if it's just gambling for a living and not having to, you know, study so much just to be able to talk about each and every game and just only focus on taking advantage of situations, God, the hammering opening lines at the middle and waiting for that line to come out and destroying it with as much money as possible and then getting the middle at the end of the week is extremely enticing as a lifestyle. Heinz Field, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Indianapolis Colts 10-4, 5-2 on the road at the Steelers, 11-3, 6-1 at home. 34 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 7 miles per hour. Colts coming off 27-20 home win over the Texans. I was very thankful to stay off of it when it got to 7.5. And I like that you were on it at 7. And then they barely, I mean, it takes a Darius Leonard forced fumble to, but, you know, Bobby Okereke, Darius Leonard, these guys are studs. Colts have now won 3 straight, tied with Tennessee, top the AFC South, move a little closer to the Titans in division. And that's the second tiebreaker. Phillip Rivers, 22-28, 228 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Jonathan Taylor ran 16 times for 83 yards. Zach Pascal caught 5 passes for 79 yards. And the Colts get Rigoberto Sanchez back 3 weeks after he underwent surgery to remove a cancerous tumor. These are the types of storylines that a team rides all the way to, I'm not going to, but to glory. Let's not talk Super Bowl or anything like that, but you need these sort of things going on in the locker room. You need these storylines. You need to look over and see a guy who, had the cancerous tumor removed, and then you understand. I also help, makes you think that, there's things bigger than sports, but it also does bring everybody together and make you fight a little harder. Marcus Johnson, there was one of their receivers left in the first half with an injured quad, did not return. Steelers coming off 3rd straight loss, most embarrassing of the season, 27-17 at lowly Cincinnati. Big Ben, 20-38, under 70 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He had 19 passing yards in the first half. Bebsie, we had Steelers minus 6.5 first half, and I was bullish on it, and he throws for 19 yards in the first half.
Dude, I honestly thought that was one of the easiest picks I had on the board. And I don't know if the Bengals just did exactly what they needed to do to shut down Ben, but they looked just awful. And it didn't help that Juju got blown up and turned over the ball on that play. But teams, Ben cannot throw the ball deep anymore. Ben looks his age. And all they need to do is shut down this short passing game, and who better to do that than this Colts team? So, I mean, I hate that. I mean, if I'm Viper sitting there with that 2.5, I'm loving it. But I still think there's tons of value in the Colts here. this is just one team that's imploding and the other team is just getting stronger.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think that win over the Texans was a good example of them getting stronger. But
that Texans team does play them tight, and you see them play much better against other teams outside of the division. And I don't know. I've got Colts first half -0.5 sitting here, and I want to jump on that. And I think this could be a double up spot.
Very quickly, Joseph Browning says, "What do you think of the over 38 in the BYU game second half?" Joe, I'm not watching the game, so I can't give a fair appraisal. But I did bet BYU. Unfortunately, I also thought this total had gone too high, and I took the under too early. Went up to 80. But I just can't give you a fair. It's not. If I'm not watching it, I just can't trust just me throwing darts. Benny Snell ran 18 times for 84 yards. He's looking good. Deontay Johnson caught 8 passes for 59 yards. TJ Watt joined Hall of Famers Reggie Watt and Derek Thomas, only players to record at least 13 sacks, 3 of their first 4 seasons. That's impressive. His brother Derek Watt went in the locker room with a possible concussion. He's concussion protocol. Eric Ebron suffered a back injury in the second quarter, did not return. Okay, so is it time to line shop for you, Bebsie?
Yeah, and I just noticed it's the full game. There's some books that have gone back down to -1.5 -1.5 for the Colts. So I think I'm going to double up here. First half and full game on the Colts.
Oh, yeah, there are a couple 1.5s. And that says, let's just make sure that's not stale at FanDuel because I got it up right now. Here we go. Oh. Is it off the board? Oh, no, it's not. Yeah, that's not stale. Yeah, you can get a 1.5. Okay, so let's first give you the 1.5 minus 110 of FanDuel.
Okay.
And then first half, it's just these spots where everybody's on the same. Well, I mean, we know that the public wins sometimes.
Well said, Slats. Well said.
Okay, Colts -0.5 at -105. Let's just see if it's possible. I doubt that can be beat, but let's just see what FanDuel is offering you because they're offering the -1.5. Oh, they're not even offering it. Okay, let's lock that in. -0.5, -105 at PointsBet. PB. Okay, we move on. We roll on. Next up, we have Bears, Jacksonville, Jaguars. Oh, God, that was an embarrassing bet that I so confidently made. Man. Bears 7-7, 4-3 on the road. Jacksonville Jaguars 113-1-6 at home. TIAA Bank Field, Jacksonville, Florida. 57 Fahrenheit, sunny, 6 miles an hour is the win. Bears coming off big 33-27 win at Minnesota. David Montgomery ran for a career high 146 yards, 32 carries. Our man Bebsie had his rush yards over. Trubisky was 15-21 for 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Allen Robinson caught 4 passes for 83 yards. Chicago only punted once, opening possession. This defense continues to roll as soon as Bill Lazor started calling the plays. It took a little bit of time, but the OC's rolling. Cordero Patterson hurt his knee against the Vikings. He's questionable. That's a big loss. He does so many different things. He's very good special teams players, we know, but even wide receiving threat, running back threat. I know it's not as important with Montgomery back, but tight end Demetrius Harris listed as questionable with an ankle injury. Cornerbacks Jalen Johnson, Buster Screen, and safety Deion Bush are listed as questionable. Jaguars coming off 40-14 loss at Baltimore. Ugh, fucking joke. What a terrible bet. Bears open up at -7. They're now -7.5. The total goes from 46.5 to 47. Minshew was 22-29, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, sacked 5 times, lost a fumble. Jacksonville gained only 62 yards rushing on 22 attempts, only 267 yards in total. Shark led receivers with 4 catches for 53 yards, so Bebsie hit that prop. James Robinson ran 16 times for 35 yards. It wouldn't shock me if he could bounce back, but he also could be getting tired from this huge load that he's carried.
Rookie ball.
Yeah, But what a time to hit it. He's been awesome. Logan Cook out with an illness. I talked about it on Sunday, how nervous I was about it. Aldrich Rosas was forced to handle all the kicking duties. He got off a 53-yard boot on a free kick, but his first punt traveled 30 yards, and he mishandled the snap in the fourth quarter. Just terrible, terrible capping by me on the Jaguars. Bebsie, Bears, Jaguars, take it away.
Look, this is a real trash game as far as I'm concerned. I agree with you. I think the loss of Cordero Patterson is not a loss that'll make headlines, but it's important in Chicago. Obviously, there's no value in taking Jacksonville, especially with how horrendous they played last week. And so the value in this game to me is, David Sharp's hit the nail on the head again. Montgomery is hitting his props consistently 6 weeks straight, and the market's not correcting. They're not moving it up. But the only reason Chicago has found success lately is because they're not putting anything on Trubisky. They're just playing a run game with Montgomery and then letting Trubisky manage the game. And Mitchell hasn't been awful because of it. So I'm going to wait to see that line. It's probably going to come out somewhere in the same realm as it has lately. And that's another well I'm going to go to, I think, until it fails me. So I'll be looking at that Montgomery prop when it comes out, but I can't back the Bears in anything. And Jesus, after Jacksonville's abysmal performance this weekend, you can't get on them. But yeah, the Bears have been decent as of late. They're playing complementary football. They're running the ball, allowing their defense some rest. That's the only time this defense has looked bad all year, is when their offense is 3 and out. They get tired and then they get beat. But right now it's just they're controlling the game with the run game and letting Mitchell make easy passes, not do much. And then their defense can ball out because they actually hit the field, fresh.
If they don't sign a punter, then they need to be faded again because it will cost them more points. Logan Cook's on the reserve COVID list, so he's not playing this week. He was put on it he was put on it yesterday. So Logan Cook's got COVID. I need to look. If they sign a punter, then I can. But if they don't, also James Robinson hurt his ankle in that last game. The quarterback Sidney Jones questionable. Colin Johnson questionable, the hamstring injury. I think this team is falling apart. So for me, if they don't sign a punter, I'm going to take the Bears.
I can punt.
Well, I'll throw your name in the hat. Let's move to Giants Ravens. That's next up on the card. Ravens open up at minus 12.5. Now they're minus 11. This is crazy number. This is way too high. But look, I said that about the Ravens-Jags game, but the Giants...
the Jags and the Giants are two very different football teams.
I agree. This is too high. This total's at 45. First off, just before I get into this, do you expect Daniel Jones to be behind center?
I do. I think they probably rushed him back, realized that was a mistake, gave him another week. He should be good to go this week. I mean... every injury is different and everything heals on a different timeline, but you got to figure he's back this week.
And then, you know what? Let me just quickly, I know we're on this new game, but do you feel like that total at 47 for Bears Jacksonville is over the overs in play?
No, I don't think the overs in play.
The Jags could get shut down?
The Jags could completely get shut down by this defense.
Okay.
I was about to think I might go back to that shark prop as well, but not against this defense, especially not if they're getting rest.
We're at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. 40 Fahrenheit, mostly sunny, 5 miles per hour. Giants 5-9 on the season, 3-4 on the road. Ravens 9-5, 4-3 at home. Giants coming off 20-6 loss at home to Cleveland. Giants stayed a game back of first place Washington. Daniel Jones still dealing with a hamstring injury. Colt McCoy 19-31, 221 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Daniel Jones listed as questionable this week. Freddie Kitchens had to call the plays because Jason Garrett was sidelined with COVID. Darius Slayton led the receivers with 4 catches for 74 yards. Wayne Gallman had a bad game Cleveland just loaded the box against them. I mean, McCoy's not going to hurt you. So he ran 9 times for 29 yards. Devonta Freeman is close to a return. He's expected to be back in the lineup this week. Top cornerback James Bradbury out after being placed on the COVID-19 list on Thursday. So we'll see what happens to him this week. Cornerback Darnay Holmes is listed as questionable. David Sharp says Jacksonville not going to play this week. Why risk the number 1 pick now? That's a good point. Not Flush Allen, I'll grab you that team total. But I'll look on FanDuel for it. But that's a really good point. Ravens coming off 40-14 home beatdown of the Jags. They've won 3 straight following a 3-game losing streak. They remain in the hunt to secure one of the 3 AFC wildcard spots. Lamar Jackson, 17-22, 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. J.K. Dobbins, 14 carries, 64 yards. Marquise Brown activated off the COVID-19 list. And he set out the loss. He set out a loss in Pittsburgh after testing positive for the virus, but he's healthy now. He caught 6 passes for 98 yards. Cornerback Devontae Harris left with a thigh injury. And then they still have Calais Campbell, Marcus Peters, and Jimmy Smith inactive last week, so they're questionable this week. I can't believe you take Calais Campbell, Marcus Peters, and Jimmy Smith out of that defense, and they shut the Jags out in the first half. Fuck.
Hey, maybe the Jags had good intel that the Jets were going to win.
Crazy. This is nuts. Okay, Giants, Ravens. Nutflush Allen says Ravens getting ready at the right time. Double digits here?
I mean, yeah, both Gerald Jones and Nutflush Allen are making great points right now, but again, like I still don't have a ton of faith in this Ravens team. Like they have been able to blow out bad teams, but they've looked awful against good teams. I'm not calling the Giants a good team by any means, but we have seen their defense be able to put up a bit of a fight. I don't think this is impossible to take the Ravens at double digits. I don't. Nutflush Allen's right. The Ravens are getting right at the right time, but how much stock can you put into them beating up on a Jags team? Like I can't get too excited about that. So I don't know. There's no play for me in this. If somebody sees it clearly and wants to jump on it, great. I'm certainly not going to back the Giants, but I also don't have a ton of faith to back the Ravens at double digits. I'm seeing 11s on the board here.
I wonder if I give you a free $500 bet, I know the Chiefs are huge favorites, but to take the Bills to win the AFC or the Ravens to win the AFC, who would you take?
I would take the Bills. I just think the Bills are a better balanced team. I think they have a pass attack. The Ravens still don't have a pass attack.
Okay, I'm not going to make a move on this game. Are you interested in making any kind of move? And what do you think of that total of 45?
Again, the Giants just don't put up a ton of points. So I think free play under, but not a lot of confidence in that. Not something that excites me enough to bet on, that's for sure.
All right, let's move on to Falcons-Chiefs. Falcons-Chiefs here. I have a feeling that Le'Veon Bell is going to show out on Sunday. I think he's going to have a big game.
Really?
Yeah, he's saying all of the right things in the media. I've been extremely impressed with everything he said. Now we have Clyde Edwards-Helaire hurt, listed as doubtful. The fact that he called Clyde Edwards-Helaire before he would join the team because he said this is your team.
That I thought was a classy move from Le'Veon Bell.
The things he's saying about Mahomes, it just feels like this is a vet. And when you see all of the issues in the front office with the Giants and with Gase and everything, I'm starting to give him a bit of some leeway in how he left. And he's now comfortable in the system, comfortable in Kansas City. This is a home game. And I think he shows out. So I'm going to bet a little more, and I rarely do this, but I'm going to bet a little more than normal on this prop. I'm going to bet a little more than a unit. I mean, it'll just be a unit for the show.
Okay. Well, I think his rush prop last week was like 13.5 yards. So
it'll certainly be higher because Edwards-Helaire is going to be out. But I just have this feeling that they're going to give back to Le'Veon now that he's the main man this week. And I'm going to put a sizable bet on Le'Veon Bell. Let's go. Falcons, Chiefs. Chiefs open up at -11. Now they're 10.5. This is another double-digit favorite where I'm like, really? Because the Chiefs sort of let their foot off the gas, just like they did against the Saints. They sort of do that. They get a little comfortable. They get this has got backdoor cover written all over it for me. And Matt Ryan, I know we've said a lot of negative things about him this year, and I haven't been as hard on him as others, but he looked good last out. Let's talk about this spot. 4-10, 2-4 on the road are the Falcons. Chiefs 13-1, 5-1 at home. Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri, 47 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 11 miles per hour. Rob Watkins says KC blowout, indoor team playing in cold. I get that. I absolutely get that. Falcons come off a 31-27 loss at home to the Bucs. Led 17-0 at the half. What a mess. Allowed 5 straight scoring drives in the second half. Atlanta failed to pick up a first down on 4 of its last 5 possessions. It's uncanny. And I was at Bebsie's house when that 28-3 comeback happened at the Super Bowl. It's uncanny that this Falcons team is just so – I mean, I feel bad for the Falcons fans. Matt Ryan was 34-49, 356 yards, 3 touchdowns. Calvin Ridley, 10 catches for 160 yards, 1 touchdown. Russell Gage, the props – something happened to me when the Buffalo Ball State game didn't go over. And that threw me into a insomnia 4-day, 5-day. I'm just starting to come out of it, starting to get some sleep. But when that game didn't go over, I don't know what happened to me. But and we all have it as gamblers. There's some sort of a bet that just twists you up, and that just threw me for a loop. And I guess it was winning the survivor pool. I guess that's what I started sleeping. I guess that is actually what happened. I just realized that now. But I should have been on Ridley and Gage props. Their rushing attack was pathetic. Ito Smith led with 6 carries for 24 yards. Todd Gurley's descent into uselessness continues. He ran once for -1 yard.
His name's done.
He's done, yeah. Ray Wilson, cornerback, went out in the first half. He did not return. He's sick. I'm not sure what's going on there. Offensive guard James Carpenter, groin, listed as questionable. Cornerback Jordan Miller, listed as out. Defensive tackle Marlon Davidson. Cornerback Darquez Denard. Wide receiver Julio Jones. Safety Ricardo Allen. Cornerback Isaiah Oliver, all questionable. Chiefs coming off 32-29 win at New Orleans. Patrick Mahomes was 26-47 for 254 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. They were 9 for 18 on third down. This team is just spectacular. As I said, Helaire is out. He has a high ankle sprain and a strained hip. He's just doubtful, but he's not going to play. Le'Veon's going to pay me out. I don't mean to be this. I shouldn't be this confident on it. I don't know why I am.
I like your look. I get the logic behind it. I just need to see Le'Veon Bell do that before I get. He hasn't done anything since he left Pittsburgh.
No, I understand, but he's a little comfortable. I just feel like this is the spot where he's going to step up. Travis Kelce caught 8 passes for 68 yards. Linebacker Emmanuel Smith injured his hamstring. He's listed as questionable. This is a team that's had no injuries this year, basically. But lineman, they have offensive tackle Mike Remmers has been hurt. Linebacker Damian Wilson, running back Darwin Thompson are hurt. Okay, Bebsie, Falcons playing outdoors, is that enough to not – are the Chiefs so good that you don't – I mean, this Falcons at double digits seems like a cover.
I think the Chiefs are vulnerable. Again, the cold weather versus warm weather teams, this isn't the 80s anymore. These guys have gear so that they're not cold. Yes, it is still a small factor, especially for Matt Ryan's played his entire career inside. Guys like Breeze also outside. You don't want to back them. I just don't. I don't think it's that huge of a factor. People will throw it out there flippantly and say like, "Oh yeah, because it doesn't make any sense. They would never have matchups in the NFL." if that was actually that plausible. However, look, these two teams are opposite in that neither one of them really shows up that much in the second half. I've been saying this for a while. The Chiefs do exactly what they need to do to win, and the Atlanta Falcons just implode in the second half. So it looks like a vulnerable spot for the Chiefs, and there's always these weird games late around this time of the season where you see a Titan fall because they just they didn't prepare properly. I have trouble backing Atlanta, but I think this is too many points to give them. And somebody had posted the team totals, and the Falcons is at 20.5, and I feel like that's a good spot.
Let me pull out this team total here. Let me pull it up right now. Okay, here we go. The team total. By the way, we're guessing what that would be, the prop for Bell. I said if it's 49.5, I'll fire. I think it'll be between 49.5 and 54.5, and I'm probably going to fire anyways. Do you have an idea what you think what you would set it at?
Yeah, I would probably say 45.5 to 50, somewhere in there. I think over I would stay away from that there if it gets up to that. If it gets up into the 50s, because they really just haven't been running the ball.
They're going to be ahead, and
Rob Watkins saying the Falcons demoralized after blowing a big lead. They've done that like 15 times this year.
It is 20.5 at -110, a FanDuel. Okay. Yes, let's tell me what you think when you do, my friend.
I don't know. I feel like the way this Chiefs team approaches games is we're going to win. We'll do what we need to win. And so given the fact that their defense isn't exactly stellar, that the team total over at 20.5 feels kind of good.
Okay. Well, I've made very few moves here on this card. Are you going to move on anything here with Falcons Chiefs? And I understand why I'm not going to move on to 10.5 now. By the way, I was impressed with Matt Ryan. I mean, he threw for 356 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Ridley and Gage were monsters. Okay. Rob Watkins says Atlanta 29th defense with nothing to play. Casey covers. Okay, there's no move for me at this point. Thank you guys for your help here. Are any of you guys – or sorry, Bebsie, are you making a move here?
I'm worried I'm going to lose that 20.5, but I also hate laying money with the Falcons. But
Slats, you should jump on Twitter. It's not – there's no pictures. No one's taking pictures. There's no selfies.
Yeah, I used to hate Twitter, but this show's kind of making me like it. Come on.
Oh, I love it. I mean, there's no bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just info and capping and okay. 4:05 p.m. Eastern. It's the only social media that I do. 4:05 p.m. Eastern. We move on to Broncos Chargers. This total opened up at 15.5. It's now 48.5 or 49. Chargers open up at -3 at -120. The indicator books tell us that it's going to be at 3.5. We're at SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California. Both teams 5-9, 3-4. Broncos 3-4 on the road. Chargers 3-4 at home. Broncos coming off 48-19 home beatdown. They got destroyed, delivered to them by the Buffalo Bills. The defense surrendered its most points since Fangio took over. Drew Lock was 20 of 32 for 132 yards. Noah Fant caught 8 passes for 68 yards and 1 touchdown. No one else caught for more than 20 yards. Melvin Gordon had another good game, ran 11 times for 61 yards. But they are a tricky team to figure out. I do not know what to do with these Denver Broncos at all. Bradley Chubb, questionable. He's got this ankle injury. Royce Freeman, questionable. And then they moved all their cornerbacks onto injured reserve. We talked about that on the last show. So Parnell Motley, Duke Dawson, Kevin Tolliver, Bryce Callahan. Bryce Callahan's the main one. They all four were moved on to injured reserve. Chargers are on extra rest in preparation after their 30-27 win at Las Vegas. They snapped a 9-game losing streak against AFC West counterparts. Snapped a 3-game skid against the Raiders. Justin Herbert. Oh, I almost said Rangers. Woo! NHL is going to be coming soon. Justin Herbert was 22 at 32 for 314 yards, 2 TDs, and 0 interceptions. NFL rookie record with his 7th 300-yard game, 27 passing touchdowns. He's tied Baker Mayfield from 2018 for the most by rookie in NFL history. Austin Eckler ran 13 times for 60 yards. Jalen Guyton, 4 passes for 91 yards. And then Hunter Henry now has a career-high 60 receptions on the year. That's third highest among tight ends this season. He had 5 receptions for 65 yards and a touchdown. Michael Badgley, get rid of him. I mean, I shouldn't say get rid of him, but I don't know. Get him a job at somewhere else. Missing 2 kicks. Does not look confident when he comes out there. He looks like a little boy. He's nervous. Derwin James is on the COVID list. Joey Bosa is on concussion protocol. I mean, and then you have 3 linebackers questionable in Kaiser White, Denzel Perryman, and Emeke Ogbuli. Offensive tackle Brian Bulaga and safety Nazir Adderley are also questionable. Broncos Chargers here. Take it away. They're all making fun of me for a dressing room talk. Dressing room talk is around the corner. Rocky Meniketti now. It's great to see you, Rocky, my man. K. Paul says complete stay away. This is tricky. This is very tricky. Take it away, Bebsie. Broncos Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, if you gave me a free play, I'd lay it with the Chargers just because they have a better team top to bottom. But Anthony Lynn and injuries makes them super vulnerable. And then on the other side, Fangio, great D coordinator, terrible head coach, lots of injuries. Team that both of these teams have just been abysmal at times, despite having some real talent. Some teams have dealt with injuries at times, but I can't. I got to stay away from this game. There's so much uncertainty between injuries and bonehead coaching decisions. Look, it should be free play Chargers. I'm not touching this game though.
Yeah. But we we know the cornerbacks are completely destroyed in Denver. So isn't it a simple play on Justin Herbert pass props over? Isn't he very likely to throw for 300?
If I'm going to make a play, it's going to be on his pass props.
Well, one thing that's another thing, because I've seen you attacking the prop market so enormously heavy this year, which I love as your friend watching. It's very fun. But I think that we need to get in on these these player props before our show on Sunday, because the numbers are moving against us and they're key.
Oh, yeah. I saw a few of those numbers really hurt me on Sunday.
Yeah, so I think we got to, stay in touch. And when they come out, as soon as they come out, stay in touch and start locking them in. Because you're attacking. And then also for just the public consumption of your props, I think we should not just use Bet365 because it's a minus 120. And that means that you need to hit 56% to break even, which is just bullshit. And you're doing it. But it's not fair. Justin Herbert over is the play. All right, let's move on to 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Panthers, Washington. Just a few games left on this card, so let's keep rolling here. Carolina, Washington. This total opened up 45. It's now 44.5. Washington opening up at -2. It's now -2.5. Panthers 4-10, 2-5 on the road. At Washington, 6-8 and 3-4. At home. Sorry, let me just set this up here. All these things open. Okay, let's go. 44 Fahrenheit, chance of showers, 5 miles per hour, FedEx Field, Landover, Maryland. Panthers coming off a 24-16 loss at Green Bay. Panthers outscored them 13-3, now gained them 214-49 in the second half. I love the bet on the Panthers, and this past weekend, I had them 8.5. It went up. Like, I was lucky that they covered the 8. But Dennis Garcia is like, do you ever see these Panthers get blown out? They're a real good dog this year. They've lost 8 of their last 9 games. DJ Moore caught 6 passes for 131 yards. Bridgewater was 21-35 for 258 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. Mike Davis ran 14 times for 59 yards. Their cornerback, Troy Pride, hurt his groin in the first quarter. defensive end Brian Burns hurt his knee late in the game. He says he's going to be fine. Okung and McCaffrey are questionable. And you want to know whether they're going to be in. Let's cap this as if they're not going to be in.
You got to figure with maybe Okung they would put in, but I can't see them putting in a questionable Christian McCaffrey in a meaningless game.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And even Okung for that matter. But I agree with you completely.
To a lesser extent, sure. But I agree. I just think slightly lesser extent. McCaffrey is your offense, even though he hasn't been around much this year. So, it's if you're Matt Rule and you've already gained some clout this year, the fan base likes you, the team seems to like you. You need that piece going forward. You paid him a fortune. You're not playing him hurt, especially against this defensive front. You're not. That's just a terrible business decision.
Agreed. It took so much for me to bet on Washington. And I waited until the last possible minute to put it in at +6, and it covered. And it's because of Dwayne Haskins, knowing that he's so much more talented than the other quarterbacks, but Rivera doesn't want anything to do with him because he's maskless in the strip club. He's just not someone you can have faith in, even though he's so talented. 38 of 55, 295 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Logan Thomas, it was Haskins. It was Haskins. So I'm very. If I hadn't have cashed on Washington at +6, I would have lost my shit because it was Haskins that got me off of the Logan Thomas prop, and I've just fallen in love with this dude.
Other than the Niners, who play tight ends very well, Logan Thomas has been on fire lately.
13 catches for 101 yards, and I don't bet him. I cashed on Washington, so I'm not angry, and I wasn't angry.
I cashed on that McLaurin pick, but not by much.
You did.
That was a narrow victory.
Cards. What's up?
You're frozen.
Oh, I am?
You're back.
Okay, cool. McIsaac ran 13 times for 51 yards. Linebacker Sean Dion Hamilton left with an elbow injury. Right tackle Morgan Moses left with a leg injury. I'm going to go over the injuries once more, but we have Antonio Gibson missing 2 straight games because of a toe injury, and Cole Holcomb out with a concussion. These are big issues with Cole Holcomb and Antonio Gibson. Carolina, Washington here. Bebsie, take it away.
Slats is laying it out there pretty good. You want to know if Smith is playing, and do we have any info on that right now, or is it Haskins again, or is Alex Smith going to be able to go? Because Alex Smith, if I might just bet this and hope that Alex Smith is ready to go, because the combination of Rivera against his old team and Alex Smith and this Washington team playing for this division right now, this has to be a Washington spot.
They think he's good to go. I shouldn't say good to go. They think that he's going to practice later in the week and that he's going to play. But, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I have to. I think I have to jump on Washington and hope Smith plays, and then maybe look at betting the other side if he isn't. But even if he isn't, I'm almost still okay with this.
This is a tricky game.
I like Rivera going against his old team here. I like this matchup. And I just think if Alex Smith is in there, this seals the deal for me.
Al Cervix says feels under to me. It's open at 45 now at 44.5. What do you think of this total?
I would agree with Al. Feels under. Not confident enough for me to bet it, but if you gave me a free play, I'd take the under. Again, I think this will be a bit of a you expect a defensive slugfest from Washington, but I think I'm going to make a move on Washington here, Jimmy. It just feels right for me.
All right, let's go. Let's line shop for you right now. Over to full game. And the Washington Football Club -2 and -105 at BetMGM. That's a nice number. That's a really nice number.
-2 you got?
Yeah, -2, -105 at BetMGM.
All right.
That's a nice number. All right, let's get that. -2, -105 at BetMGM. And we haven't been we've been one of the good things though is that I shoot a NBA show tomorrow for Christmas Day games, and then I get 3 days off, and I'm going to be staring at these games. But I've got very little on this card so far. We move on to 4:05 p.m. Eastern, a very fun game. Rams, Seahawks. The next two games, Bebsie's already moved on. Bebsie got the Rams at +2.5. They're now sitting at +1.5 or +1. And although I agreed with you that the market was going to move, I still couldn't pull the trigger for some reason. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't make the bet, but I completely understood your belief in this bounce back spot. This total's at 47 opener. It goes to 47.5. Rams 9-5, 4-3 on the road at the Seahawks 10-4, 6-1 at home. Lumen Field, Seattle, Washington. I hate saying Lumen Field. Hate it. 43 Fahrenheit, chance of showers, 5 miles per hour. Rams coming off an embarrassing 23-20 loss at home to the Jets. They had won 4-5. They had moved to the top of the NFC West. That's over. Both sides of the field were bad. Offense, defense. The Jets converted 7 third downs. God, it felt so good winning that fucking Survivor pool. Rams still can win the division if they beat Seattle. Jared Goff was 22 of 34, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Cam Akers, this is the big spot here. Cam Akers ran 15 times for 63 yards. High ankle sprain, will not be available this week. Now they have some depth at running back.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Cam Akers has been a bell cow for them all year. He had one big game. He was starting to heat up. It looked like he was possibly going to be a big deal there, and he's hurt. So that's not an injury that hampers them. Yes, they'd be better off with him than without, but not gonna pretend that factors in that much, because it's not like he's the offense is predicated on him.
Agreed. No, I agreed. Absolutely. Higbee caught 4 passes for 67 yards, 1 touchdown. Seahawks coming off 2015 win at Washington. Russell Wilson 18 of 27, 121 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. DK Metcalf led the receivers with just 5 catches for 43 yards. Chris Carson ran 15 times for 63 yards. Carlos Hyde broke out a 50-yard run, ran twice for 55 yards. Jamal Adams sacked Haskins. That's now 9.5 this year. He's loving this shit. Carlos Dunlap came back from his foot injury, looked good. Rookie running back DJ Dallas was carted off after injuring his right ankle. X-rays are negative, sprained ankle. And they lost 2 offensive linemen. Well, we know that Brandon Shell's been inactive with an ankle injury, but they lost Michael Iupati with a neck injury. He's been hurt kind of off and on all year. But those are 2 big pieces to the offensive line. Break down why you like the Rams here in Seattle in a tough, extremely important divisional spot.
Well, I mean, seldom do I move on something that quick. This is the first time this year I've moved on something before our Tuesday show. But had the Rams not lost to the Jets, I don't know if I'd be making a play here. But it's a divisional game coming off an embarrassing loss. This team is disgusted with themselves over, and I still think the Rams, top to bottom, are probably the most balanced team in the NFC right now. So first of all, I see Aaron Donald coming out like a madman in this game. You got an injury to Iupati. Anytime you have an injury in the interior of your offensive line and you have to face Aaron Donald, that's a nightmare. Second of all, matchup-wise, you have Jalen Ramsey, who's one of the few corners in the league who can actually shut down or control DK Metcalf in one-on-one coverage. So this matchup is just beautiful for the Rams. I just see them coming out angry and taking it to Seattle this week. And they want that division. They want it. It's up for grabs. If they beat Seattle, this is going to be real easy for them to do it now. I love this pick. And, I was right. I said it wouldn't be here by showtime. It's not. But, yeah, I just think matchup-wise and coming off that loss, this is a perfect spot for the Rams to just take out their frustration on this Seattle team.
If we left alone that Jets lost in the bounce-back spot, if they
beat the Jets handedly this week, I'm not bullish on this game.
But if this is a spot where it's a playoff game, and let's say they're both off a bye, so we have nothing from last week, and it's in Seattle with no fans, you like the Rams to beat the Seahawks?
I do. I just think matchup-wise, what the Seahawks do best, the Rams are great at shutting down. Russell Wilson does not like pressure up the middle. The Rams have Aaron Donald. DK Metcalf is extremely difficult in single coverage. He's the number one receiver in the NFL, I think, against single coverage. And the Rams have Jalen Ramsey. It's just matchup-wise, whether you think one team is better than the other or not, the Rams have the upper hand in matchup.
All right. Bebsie's already grabbed the Rams at +2.5. I can't remember the juice offhand. I didn't write it here in my notes, but do you have it offhand?
What's that? Sorry?
I'll grab it. What the juice was on your bet. I don't have it offhand, but I will grab it before the end of the show.
Yeah, it's on my phone, I think.
Any last words on this before we move on?
I'm just going to comment on Nutflush Allen. Can Goff take out any frustration? He looks like he just does not care. I don't think he can take out any frustration. Goff can do what McVay will allow him to do. And as far as what he looks like, he just looks like a kid's drawing of what's his nuts from the kid from Breaker High.
Oh, what's his name? The blonde-haired kid?
Yeah. Gosling. He looks like a shitty drawing of Ryan Gosling. That's what he looks like.
And this total sitting at 47.5 feels like it's a pretty sharp number.
Yeah. I expect this to be tight, relatively low scoring. That's a number I wouldn't want to tackle.
We move on to this next game. Another move that you've made already. 4:25 p.m. Eastern. Philadelphia Eagles 4-9-1, 1-6 on the road. Dallas Cowboys 5-9, 3-4 at home. AT&T Stadium, Arlington, Texas. And this was a move that I did want to go with, and I have waited too long. I just felt like there was some injury information that I wanted to gather, and once I gathered it, it was just too late. But it's still under 3.
I think it's still takeable.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think I will. But Prince of the City here, he's nettable in. So let's see what he has to say. Eagles are coming off.
For the life of me, think of what Prince's take is going to be in this game.
Eagles are coming off 33-26 loss to Arizona. Jalen Hurts looks like it's his football team, which is exciting. 24-44. Completion rate not great, but 338 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Ran 11 times for 63 yards, 1 touchdown. He also took a safety for intentional grounding in the end zone. He was also sacked 6 times. The Eagles have used their 13th different starting combination on their offensive line in 14 games, so they're not really protecting him. Zach Ertz caught 2 passes for 69 yards. Alshon Jeffrey caught 2 passes for 63 yards. But Deshaun Jackson, designated to return this week, he will help, and he'll give Jalen Hurts confidence. Miles Sanders ran 11 times for 63 yards. Tight end Richard Rodgers carted to the locker room, at the end of the first. He's listed as questionable. Defensive lineman Josh Sweat, wrist injury, listed as questionable. Punter Cameron Johnston is in concussion protocol. Wide receiver Jalen Reagor, questionable with an ankle injury. And then you have Darius Slay and Graylin Arnold listed as questionable. Also, Jason Huntley, the running back, backup running back, or whatever. Cornerback Avonte Maddox and offensive tackle Jack Driscoll are on injured reserve. They're done. Cowboys are coming off 41-33 home win over the Niners. They were outgained 458 total yards to 291, but no turnovers. Took advantage of the Niners' turnovers. Easy win. They're a game back in the NFC East with 2 games remaining. So they have to win both against Philly and the Giants while Washington loses twice. And Washington playing Carolina this week. Dallas won consecutive games for the first time in Coach Mike McCarthy's first season. I still can't believe they hired Mike McCarthy. Andy Dalton, 19-33 for 209 yards, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. CeeDee Lamb caught 5 passes for 85 yards. He also had that great run back. Zeke Elliott missed the first game of his career due to injury. Tony Pollard ran 12 times for 69 yards. One thing that surprised me was his 6 catches for 63 yards. We were hesitant to take his run prop, and he just barely got over it. Zeke's listed as questionable this week with the calf injury. Safety Xavier Woods left with a rib injury, questionable. This is the issue. Leighton Vander Esch, high ankle sprain, doubtful. When I heard that, I was like, that's what that got me. I was like, shit, I should have. Defensive tackle Antoine Woods didn't return after spraining his ankle. Wide receiver Michael Gallup injured his hip in the second half, didn't return. He had a first half touchdown catch. He avoided serious injury, listed as questionable. Cornerback DeAndre Burton, linebacker Justin March have been moved to injured reserve. Cornerback Rashard Robinson listed as questionable. Bebsie, tell us why you bet the Eagles.
Well, look, the Cowboys are coming off back-to-back wins, and let's face it, the Niners game was the only reason they won was because Nick Mullins gave them the game. Turnover, they really got owned by the Niners in so many categories, and yet, turnovers was huge. They started that game 14-0 off of bad turnovers, and I had a feeling this game would be close because of that win. Or this line would have been close because of that win. It's another reason why I looked at this one right away. And I just feel the way that Philly seems to be rallying around Jalen Hurts. Look, I don't think they like Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz, too, and just what he's been saying in the media with the I'm not interested in being a backup. And, if I'm going to be the backup, I want out of here. Look, you're getting paid a shit ton of money to be brutal. And I'm just not – I think this team probably hated Carson Wentz. It feels like it because guys aren't dropping the ball as much. Guys seem to be playing harder.
They do.
Is that a real thing, or is Joe Strummer just trolling? Did Kevin Durant tear his Achilles, or is he just being an idiot?
I hope not. We weren't watching the game, Joe.
Yeah. This guy came in and with 2 stupid tweets or comments.
I hope that's not the truth. No, somebody would have said something to us probably.
Yeah, get this fucking guy out of here.
Okay, I will.
And I just feel like this team is rallying around Hurts right now. They seem happier.
Okay.
Yeah, MJ, I do hate the Cowboys. I'm not going to lie about that. I mean, a Niners fan, I have to hate the Cowboys. But, yeah, they're not in the position to beat the – I think if Hurts was starting all year, you might actually be looking at the Eagles winning this division right now.
Yeah. Oh, agreed. We're going to move on because we got to move on and finish this show up. But Prince of the City, could you tell us why you think the Cowboys are going to beat the Eagles in the chat? If you could, I know that you're a little deep in you're at the bowl. Okay. I think they're a special team with Hurts at quarterback. Special teams, wrong thing to say. I think they're an undervalued team with Hurts at quarterback, and now that they're fighting, now they're going to get Deshaun Jackson back. And special team, I take that back. I think I just made Prince of the City choke. Sorry about it.
Prince of the City just gave a pretty good breakdown there because the Eagle fucking blow.
Okay, let's move on. We move on to the Sunday nighter. We have 2 games left on this card. We'll put a bow on it. Tennessee Titans, Green Bay Packers. This is a beauty. Titans 10-4, 5-1 on the road at the Packers 11-3, 6-1 at home. Lambeau Field, Green Bay, Wisconsin. 26 Fahrenheit, snow showers, 9 miles per hour. Titans coming off that easy 46-25 win over the Lions. They open up as 4-point dogs. That moves to 3. The total has been sitting at 56, which feels a little high to me, but man, these Titans play high-scoring games. And if you force Rodgers to go, blow for blow, he'll throw deep and he'll hurt you. When he doesn't have to do anything, he settles in and he gets too lethargic. Titans coming off that big win, 4th win in 5 games, 5th NFL team in history with 5 straight games of at least 420 yards and 30 points. They scored a season high, and it's also their 4th game of at least 42 points. Ryan Tannehill was 21-27 for 273 yards, 3 touchdowns. He now has a career high 31 touchdown passes. He's also ran 3 times for 21 yards and 2 touchdowns. Corey Davis caught 4 passes for 110 yards, 1 touchdown. Derrick Henry ran 24 times for 147 yards, 1 touchdown. 4th player in NFL history to run for at least 1,500 yards, 15 TDs in consecutive seasons. Terrell Davis, Sean Alexander, Larry Johnson, the others. Khalif Raymond has been put on reserve COVID list. Tight end George Swaim, safety Kenny Vaccaro are both listed as questionable. Packers coming off 24-16 win over the Panthers. They've won 4 straight. They were outscored 13-3 and outgained 214-49 in the second half. Rodgers was 20 for 29 for a season low 143 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Aaron Jones ran 20 times for 145 yards. Alan Lazard led the receivers with 5 catches for 56 yards. Devontae Adams had 7 catches for 42 yards, didn't reach the end zone, ending his streak of 8 games with a touchdown reception. Only 2 players in Super Bowl era have put together streaks that long. Jerry Rice, 12 games. A.J. Green, 9 games. Rice in 87. A.J. Green in 2012. It makes me think, and I'm just going to add a couple more notes, but it makes me think that Devontae Adams might blow up in the snow here after a real bad game. Jamal Williams left with a quadriceps injury in the first half. Outside linebackers Rashawn Gary and Zadarius Smith were shaken up in the 4th quarter. They're both listed as questionable. Safety Will Redmond is in concussion protocol. David Sharp says Packers can't stop the rush. I know total is high, but I see lots of points. And Corey Davis props when there's a lockdown corner, and Green Bay has a lockdown corner. Bebsie, take it away. Game of the week, unless you're a West Coast guy and loving Rams, Seahawks, Titans, Packers. Let's go.
Yeah, I again agreeing with David Sharp here. I think this is a tough spot for both defenses, to be honest with you. The Packers obviously have a great offense behind Aaron Rodgers, and aside from a bit of a blip in the middle of the season, Rodgers has been putting forth one hell of an MVP campaign. And I don't think the Titans defense can stop him. Now, we know that the Green Bay defense can't stop the run at all. And another guy who's on a pseudo MVP because he's a running back and they never give running backs MVPs. Derrick Henry is on an absolute warpath as well. And, he's got an outside shot at getting to 2,000 this year if he has 2 monster games, which he should have a monster game against this Packers defense. They have a really bad run defense. So this is going to be an interesting one, to be honest with you. I lean over with that number being, even at that number being so high, but also I just, I can't, if anything, I take the Titans as a dog here just because I can see this going either way. So free play, I'd maybe bet the Titans, but I can't bet this game. I can't bet the spread here because it really could go either way. I think that the Packers are vulnerable with sitting where they're at off of 4 wins, and just the fact that, Henry can really, really bog down this game.
What do you think of them being uncomfortable in the freezing cold?
Again, I don't think that's a huge factor here. I mean, you don't think Derrick Henry can run in the cold? I do. I think DBs are not going to want to tackle that man in the cold. I think, if anything, that favors them offensively. This Titans team is it's full of big boys. A.J. Brown is a big boy.
Huge.
he is not a guy you want to tackle. And they also have obviously Derrick Henry, but they're why am I drawing a blank on their tight end, who's also a Mack truck?
I'm gonna bring on too.
But yeah, I just think this is a very vulnerable spot for Green Bay. I understand that, yeah, it's Lambeau, it's cold, but it's not, it's not January cold yet there. And yeah, I think this is a vulnerable spot. If you gave me a free play, I'd take the Titans. Probably end up just playing some props in this game, sit back and enjoy it. It is, I think, going to be a fantastic football game. That Derrick Henry rush prop, even if it's set at like 120, I think I might still jump on this.
Yeah, I was thinking that watching him this past Sunday, that my issue in NBA props I should let go of maybe when there's a player like Derrick Henry. See, I think the Packers can win this game. Obviously, they're 3-point favorites. That's a dumb thing to say. I think that the -3 where it's at right now is a nice spot for the Packers, and they haven't been tested lately, and I think they want to be tested. And they also know that first seed is available.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And I agree with you, but look at what San Francisco did to the Packers last year in the regular season and in the playoffs. Run first team, absolutely dominated them on the ground, kept Aaron Rodgers out of the game for a huge portion of it. I feel like Mike Vrabel has to look at that model and what he's got in his offense and attack them the same way.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying look, Tennessee's defense is nowhere near what San Francisco's was last year, but I think offensively you do that. You take on this team by just pounding the absolute shit out of the rock in this one.
I'm leaning towards the Pack here. I'm not going to move now. Anything for you, Bebs? You want the Titans right now? Because I can probably find you a 3.5. And
no, I'm not going to take it. I like I said, a free play, I would take that. I really believe it's going to go either way. I wasn't so much trying to talk up why I'm taking the Titans so much as I am trying to talk you off of backing Green Bay. I think I mean, it's going to be a props look for me in this one, and I think it's just going to be a fantastic game, and I think some crazy talented players will be on showcase, and it's going to be fun, but I couldn't tell you the line. I don't have a strong feeling on it one way or the other.
I feel you. Sunday night in the snow, Titans-Packers is going to be so much fun for us to watch. Let's go to the last game of the show here. Last game on the card, Monday, December 28th. We have the Bills at Patriots. And what a difference a year makes. Bills are 11-3, 5-2 on the road at the Patriots, who are going to miss the playoffs for the first time in 12 years. 6-8, 4-2 at home. Gillette Stadium, Foxborough, Massachusetts. 38 Fahrenheit. Showers. 7 miles per hour. Bills open up at -6.5, quickly to a 7, and they're going to be at 7.5 within 36 hours or so. The total opens up at 45. It's now at 46. Bills are rolling, coming off 48-19 destruction of the Broncos in Denver. They generated 29 first downs. Oh, shit. Extends their franchise record streak of 20 or more first downs, 13 consecutive games. Stephon Diggs, 11 catches, 147 yards. Cole Beasley, 8 catches, 112 yards. Zach Moss runs 13 times for 81 yards. Devin Singletary runs 8 times for 68 yards and a touchdown. Stephon Diggs hurt his foot in the fourth quarter. And McDermott said that the results aren't overly worrisome. I'm not entirely sure what to make of that. Andre Roberts, wide receiver returner, did not come back after a back injury. Darrell Williams, offensive lineman, left with a groin injury. So safety Jaquan Johnson, questionable. They're monitoring Stephon Diggs' foot, questionable. Defensive end, H.E. Epinesa, questionable. Head injury, but they're not saying he's in concussion protocol. Cornerback Tre'Davious White, questionable. Offensive tackle Darrell Williams, groin, questionable. And they didn't activate John Brown from the injured reserve, which we expected them to do. Now we move on to the Patriots, coming off 22-12 loss at Miami, knocked them out of the playoffs first time in 12 years, finished at 500 or worse for the first time since 2000, the year they drafted Brady. They fall 1 year short of matching Dallas Cowboys' NFL record of 20 consecutive winning seasons. They shut out the Dolphins in the first half, then allowed 3 touchdown drives of 70 or more to start the second half. Cam Newton, 17-27, 209 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Second consecutive game, he failed to get New England into the end zone. Jacoby Myers had a monster game again, 7 catches for 111 yards. Sony Michel, 10 carries for 74 yards. Cornerback Stephon Gilmore left the game in the second quarter. He has a partially torn quad. He's done for the year. Linebacker Juwan Bentley, arm injury, locker room, first half, listed as questionable. Defensive end John Simon, hamstring, listed as questionable. Center David Andrews, calf, sidelined in the second half, listed as questionable. Leading rusher Damian Harris, inactive because of an ankle injury, questionable. Wide receiver Dante Moncrief, questionable. And Julian Edelman could have been activated before the Dolphins game. And I tried to figure out what's going on. It's unclear if he will be activated for this. Al Cervic says Bills bury them. Is this a spot where the Bills take out decades or 15 years of frustrations and beat them up?
I hope so. I just don't think it's that simple. I talked a lot about how that the Bills beating the Pats earlier this season has changed that team. Like that was the mental hurdle they had to get over. They have been lights out since, with the exception of the Hail Murray. They have been absolutely dominant. They're a freak play away from being undefeated since that game. But my question is Belichick ready to be swept by the Bills? I'm not saying the Bills aren't going to win this game. I just think it might be closer. I still think there's that mentality. Or look, the Bills are sitting there being like, okay, we did it. We won the division. We beat the Pats. We're better than this team now. And they come out and absolutely kick the shit out of the Pats. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Belichick comes out ready for this game. He does not want to get swept by the Bills, not playing at home. So I think this is a tough spot for the Bills to have a blowout in. And I know 7.5 isn't a blowout, but I think it's too many points given the way the Pats have just dominated the Bills for 2 decades. And yes, the Bills are absolutely better right now. And McDermott's a very good coach, and the Bills are looking at they're looking at going on a real run here. I just think this is a very tough matchup.
I lean towards a smash and grab. I think that the 7's certainly not going to be available come Monday, right? Do you think it'll be at least 7.5 or more?
If it goes up, I'm going to take the Pats. Like if it keeps going up,
Stephon Gilmore gone, Juwan Bentley possibly. I think the sign will be if they don't activate Edelman. I think the Bills take out frustration here.
I want to see that. I just don't know if we are going to see that.
I'm going to take the Bills at -7. You've been cashing on the Bills first half consistently.
The Bills have been a great first half team for the majority of the season.
3.5 really feels manageable. Gerald Jones says Bills have 8 straight first halves. Sammy B said I'd wait for Diggs on the injury report. You know what's crazy is I don't know. I don't know if they need Diggs in this spot.
Well, if Diggs is out and Gilmore is out, doesn't that cancel it?
Yeah.
Isn't that then a draw?
I'm going to move on the Bills here. Al Silver says they're still learning here. If they lose, what does that do for their mindset? They want to crush. I'm going in on the Bills here. I just think it's time. The times have changed, and maybe this could be extremely square, but I just feel like there's so much hate and anger that the Patriots have, but maybe that's just the fans and not, or so that the Bills have for the Patriots. Maybe that's the fans, not the players.
No, I think it's both. I mean, if you get smoked by a team for 2 straight decades, that's you know that's on the whiteboard in the locker room.
Sammy B's right. Who's Allen going to throw to deep without Brown and Diggs? Because it's not Cole Beasley. And Cole Beasley, a deep pass for him is 13 or 14 yards. Okay, I mean, I kind of want that 7. It's not going to be available. I mean, okay, you know what? I won't double up. But that 7 is it's going to be a 7.5, and I want the 7. But at that point, when you're looking for more than, I don't think it's that big a deal. Okay, I'm gonna move on the Bills -7 here. Very quickly on the total, Bebsie. It's at 46, and it's showers at 38 Fahrenheit, which means that there could be a little bit of snow in that. What do you think of that total at 48? Or excuse me, 46.
Lean under, and again, that's more of a history bias for me. I think I believe this game. My gut says this will be a closer game than people anticipate, and therefore I think a lower score. Mm-hmm. Again, I really like the Bills are that team that I grew up. They're just down the road. I have a soft spot for this team, and I have a soft spot for teams who have had the shit kicked out of them for a long time. So I like the Bills, and I want them to win this game and win this game big. They've been taking it in the mouth from the Pats for too long. I just don't know if I believe that's going to happen. I want to see it. I want to see 2 decades of frustration come out on the field, and I want to see the Bills win by 40 points here. I just don't know if I think that's going to happen.
Well, I'm going to take a -7. I'm going to lock it in. So I will decide, make the bet now at -7, then decide later if I want to hedge half or 3/4 or all of it. So I'm going to lock in on the Bills. I've made very few moves. I am going to wait on that first half, though. But I've made very few moves on this card. Bebsie, we're going to go over our very limited action week 16. Limited action. I've made 212 bets so far the regular season. Bebsie, you've made 145, and we have very limited action on this card. So let's go to best bets time. I'm interested in that Bucs team total over 31.5. I can't bet it yet, and I only make official the ones that I can bet. So I'm not going to give out the spot. I am interested in the Cardinals, very interested. And I think I'm going to pull the trigger on the Cardinals. First half, full game, team total over. But I need to sit with it quietly. Bebsie, you moved on the Dolphins -2.5 and -115 at BetMGM. And then I moved on the Browns Jets under 47. I'm very comfortable with that. Bebsie, you moved on the double up on the Colts. First half -0.5, full game -1.5. The first half came with just -105 juice. And then that's it. Bebsie, I'm going to move on that Herbert over pass yards. Oh, you moved on Washington -2 and -105 at BetMGM. You moved on the Eagles You moved on the Eagles earlier this week. I forgot about that. I'm thinking of moving on them at -2.5. Get it before the 3. I can't believe it's already been at 2.5. I'm interested in the Packers -3, but I'm not pulling the trigger yet. And then I'm going to pull the trigger on the Bills -7. Bebsie, best bet.
Prince is not going to like this, but I think my best bet right now is the Eagles. I think the Eagles are flying with Jalen Hurts right now. I don't think this Dallas team is very strong. I don't think this Dallas team likes their coach. I think the Dallas team is coming off a misleading victory, and I just like the Eagles here in this spot.
There you have it, Bebsie. Absolutely great job. Thank you guys so much for rolling with us through this card. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Let's keep BYU out of the end zone, even though I'm going to cash BYU on the game. Still, I want all the money. You guys, we have no show without your insights, your humor. You inspire us to try harder. It means so much to us. Slats, much love. David Sharp, Christian Larson, Al Cervic, who couldn't hit the O button for some reason. Dan Kelly, I know that there's a new strain or whatever, but mark my words, Saratoga in the summer, baby. Little Lake George. Get one of those shitty hotels on Lake George. One of those 70s resorts. Come on. Ron Burgundy, Sammy B. What a great group, man. Prince of the City on your edibles. I love you guys, man. Have a happy holiday. Sebastian Cornwell, Gerald Jones, Leonard Welch. Have a very, very wonderful holidays. K. Paul, MJ, Bebsie, you want to put a bow on this bad boy?
I want to put a big holiday bow on it. I don't want to offend anyone out there, so a big holiday bow on this show. Happy holidays, guys. You've been Buttes all year. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. This one's a little shorter than some of our other game or breakdowns, but you guys stick with us week in and week out, and the show's shite without you. So thank you guys so much.
Bebsie, just before we go, I had the luxury of cashing in on the Survivor. We have Slats so close to it, and Slats has a decision to make between the Bears or the Bucs. The Bears 7.5 road favorites at Jacksonville. The Buccaneers are 9.5-point favorites at Detroit.
I mean, I think they're both pretty good picks. I think you could go with either.
I think the Bucs.
You think the Bucs?
Yeah.
I was gonna say the Bears.
Okay.
I think you're probably good either way. But personally, I think the Jags, who now control the number 1 pick, they shouldn't be able to move the ball against this very good Bears defense. But I also think, the destroyed Detroit Lions are not going to beat the Bucs either. So, yeah, I don't think you can go wrong there.
You guys watching BYU, are they kneeling? Tell me they're kneeling. Are they going to kneel this out? Who's watching the game? Tell me they're kneeling. They're not, David says. Come on, they're not going to kneel? Okay. Why would they go for it? Okay, sorry. My daughter's sleeping. They're up 26, kneel like men. Oh, I shouldn't say that. Okay, I'll catch you guys, man. Kneel like men. That's how we close out our Christmas show. Love you guys. Let's get paid in full. Let's have a big week. Bebsie, let's get in on those props early.